once we recognized that it was a shtick, we killed it. It's done.
Right.
It's done. So we have to think up something new.
Maybe be ready. Hi, we're back.
Hey, we are the Northwest Brewmeisters. I'm Jamie.
I'm Steve.
We're just a couple guys who like beer.
I think you should too.
All right, let's do this. All right, so cool thing. Like first thing, I'm gonna jump off camera.
All right, he is leaving camera right away.
Actually, no. Wait. Let's light the fire. Let's get the water going, and let's go. So today we're doing an Irish stout. It has a name.
It does have a name.
Hold on. Let me find the name of it.
Okay, we have.
Here
we are.
Skagit Stout, as in the Skagit River Valley up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
It's not a super hard hitter. Original gravity. Original gravity 1.048. Final gravity 1.012. ABV 4.7 and IBU 41. So just kind of an easy drinking stout, really. Yeah. You know, all things considered. But there's a reason we chose this one, is because it is kind of an easy drinking stout. We have a friend who kind of hooked me up with a really cool real estate deal, and I said I'd make her a beer. And then I said, you want this like power beer? And she's like, I'm kind of a lightweight. I'm like, okay. But she likes stout, so we found this one.
We've actually made this before, probably a year ago or so. This isn't our recipe. This is our supplier's recipe.
Hi, Chase.
Oh, he's with us now.
Man, he's fast.
What's up, Chase?
Kid's fast.
He probably gets notification that we're on.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, yeah, we've made this before. We've made most of their beers at this point.
Yeah, there's very few on there. We haven't made a lager yet, but out of all the standard kind of, ales that you can do, I think we've made everything on their list.
Pretty much. I think there's a couple we looked at and we're just like,
man,
yeah, that's just not our style.
Not our style.
Which we need to be bold when drinking beers, but it's just like, maybe we should just buy like a 22 ounce and split it between us, right? And say, yes, we've sampled this beer.
So, serious question. Are we going to cold steep or steep at temp?
Let's just go for
the ground's over here.
let's just get this party
party
started. Okay. Whatever that is. Oh my goodness, dating ourselves. That's all right. Because you know what? We have wisdom now. We might not be young, but we're wise. Boy, that's going to be a tough sell too.
We're looking at this going, no.
Afraid not.
All right, we got 3 gallons of water, which is our typical starting point. We'll
happy late birthday, Uncle Steve.
Oh, hey, thanks, buddy.
I missed your birthday too.
Pretty much everybody did, but it's okay. I didn't advertise it.
I miss your birthday every year. When's my birthday?
See, I always miss yours too. So
yes, all right, we are good.
It's okay, man. It was Tuesday. Okay. The girls said happy birthday. Brandy said happy birthday, but that was pretty much it.
Wow.
I think I got a late birthday text from my uncle in El Paso there.
That's probably good.
But my dad didn't even say happy birthday. I think he forgot.
Oh, man. My dad forgot my birthday once.
But I forgive him. I don't hold it against him.
Yeah, me neither. I forget my dad's birthday every year.
Yeah, I think I forgot his. I always remember, like, the day. I know it's coming, and then it passes. It's like, oh, crap, it was my dad's birthday. And, and I was a bad son and didn't send anything. Your pot is taller than mine. We're going to have to, there we go. That should work. I think everything's submerged now.
Yeah, you have all the grains in there. So yeah. That's good enough.
That's my goal, was to make sure the grains are submerged. All right, cool.
All right, so now I am going to go off camera. Wait, let's
finish talking about the stout.
So finish talking about the stout. We got roasted barley, 1/4 pound of Crystal 60, and 1/4 pound of Black Mount. It's a stout, so it's going to be dark. Although, as we have discussed in the past, stouts do not have to be dark.
They don't have to be dark, and they don't have to have that super thick head like you see on a Guinness. That's actually achieved through nitrogen, not CO2. So,
well, yeah, on the super. But the thing is that originally, and this is originally all a stout meant, strong beer.
Right.
So that's all it meant. Porters were dark.
Yeah.
They tended to be dark, and I think just what has happened is that over time, stouts have become what we think of stereotypically as a stout. That's a stout.
Dark beer,
you can't see through it, even with a 5 million lumen flashlight behind it. It's like got the thick head. It's heavy bodied. It's big.
And
rock your world beer.
to the layman out there, there are a lot more stouts in the world than just Guinness that, is very popular, obviously, but, there's plenty out there. If you look for them, you will find them.
Right. But, that's an interesting thing about modern usage of beer. It's like, we could have this discussion. Well, stout doesn't really mean stout.
Right.
But the truth is, what's a stout?
Right.
What do you think?
A heavy beer or a strong beer.
It's like, man, I think of Guinness or Guinness-ish beers.
Right.
That's where my brain goes.
Right.
It doesn't matter what I learned
Because it's
through
very
academia.
Popular. Yeah.
It's like, this is what stouts have become. Lots of things evolve that way. Porters are what they are now.
Yeah. Lagers, ales, everybody has their own. Someone says ale, their mind instantly goes to some particular brand that they're familiar with. Same with stout.
Yeah, and I think it's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what it started as.
Right.
Now it is what it is.
Like
lots of things.
I hear lager and I automatically think Coors, actually, even though I don't drink Coors, but I just think Coors because it's a lager. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I don't think that.
What do you think when you hear lager?
I think lager.
Just lager?
Yeah, I don't have an association with it. I mean, it's pretty academic with me, actually. Lager. It's a lager. I think that with ale, too, though. And maybe that's because that's how my brain works,
Yeah, see, ales, I don't picture a specific ale. I used to think of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, but as I've grown as a beer drinker, I've learned there's tons and tons and thousands of different kinds of ales out there. Probably even a million, who knows?
Gonna drink them all.
We're gonna drink them all, just like the song.
Them.
Which we have an update on that, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we can. We can totally talk about that later. That would be awesome. But now, tell you what, man, pour your beer, pour my beer.
So today we are drinking Founders All Day IPA. I don't know if you can see that. I can actually see that.
Oh, nice. Can you follow? we need to think up a better system.
These are known as a session ale. It's very lightweight. It's only like 4.6, I think, 4.7. Actually, they're 4.7. So,
and that is tell them what a session ale is. I mean, because these are a session ale, but what is a session ale?
I don't remember the definition of a session ale. What is it?
Low alcohol beer.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
That was light, low alcohol. Coors Light would be a session beer.
Session beer. Okay.
Something you can drink, 2 or 3 gallons and still drive home. Might be a little bit hyperbole.
Right. This was by design. We don't want to get smashed, but we also want to enjoy cold beer while we're working here.
But speaking of it, don't drink that yet. Don't drink that yet.
Something on that. Is that inside? That's it. That's outside.
How come you got my glass?
I don't know. Let's trade.
All right. You didn't drink out of it. You're Batman.
I didn't drink out of it.
And I am not Wonder Woman. I'm Superman. Not Wonder Woman. Just keep that part facing the camera. I'm not Wonder Woman.
Ignore the W's.
I'm not Wonder Woman. All right. I'll be right back, man. Because I got a couple cool things.
All right. I'm going to monitor temperature as we're working our way up the steeping temperature, which, if you guessed it, 150 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, we're nowhere near that. Ways to go. Move this over a little bit. Try to center this so we don't heat these handles up too much. I think that'll be just good enough. Can't show you, but this is already getting nice and dark. Just in that initial few minutes being in the water.
All right, can you close the door behind me?
Oh yeah, you have our
man,
our tasters from our pale ale that went to the keg today, right? Is that what that was, or was that secondary?
Take this one. I got a couple here.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the Cascade Pale Ale.
And
then these here in my hand, which here you have more table than I do. My table's all taken up with technology.
Your set. My set.
All right, so do the less dark ones first. The small glasses.
All right,
I know, which that's really bad when the small glasses is more descriptive than the less dark ones. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Emoji King. All right, so this Cascade Pale Ale, this is one of the few. We haven't done this one yet.
Yeah, those are first time.
This is one of the first ones from, like, one of the recipes from our supplier. Pale Ale. What do you think?
Looks like a pale ale.
Does it look like a pale ale?
Looks like a pale ale to me.
It's kind of dark to me.
I think it's
dark and orangey.
Yeah, that's about right.
You think that's about right?
So, I mean, this is this is a little bit lighter, but that's fine. You know, it's a different set of grains. You know.
Well, sure, yeah. But I guess.
But I mean, yeah,
it's kind of like that whole IPA thing.
Meets the Pale Ale Wickets to me.
Okay, Pale Ale Wickets. Wickets achieved.
It smells kind of sweet.
So it does smell a little bit sweet. It's not super, not super attenuated.
Very light. I don't even taste much, honestly.
Remember I told you
Yeah.
it wasn't very interesting?
No. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Now, Wendy really likes it, but Wendy kind of likes, she doesn't like super,
This would be.
she doesn't like flamboyant beers. Is that a good term? Flamboyant beers?
Yeah.
Beers with lots of character.
No, I mean, it's okay, but definitely very light on the palate. I don't taste much. Slight sweetness to it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's almost. Go ahead.
I am hoping that once it carbonates and conditions a little bit, maybe that'll change it a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, I think we got about, dude, we hit an American yellow beer with this one.
I know, right? Not much excitement in this beer.
No, really, it's not. This is totally a lawnmower beer, you know. And if we were bottlers, we should have bottled it, but we're not. So maybe I'll just drink it out of a sippy cup
Sippy cup.
as I mow my lawn. All right, so that's this one. But usually we try to have maybe a short broadcast when we rack or when we keg. By the way, racking. Okay, so we got some feedback for those of you who may be new to brewing, who happen to have stumbled across this broadcast and are wondering what the hell we're talking about. Well, there we go. PG, family broadcast, PG. Racking. Racking is the process of siphoning your beer from one fermenting container to another container. And the purpose is that all the sediment goes down to the bottom. We use this thing called an auto siphon, which has a little foot on the bottom of it and keeps the suction portion of the siphon out of the sludge. And so it's a way of clearing up your beer so you don't get all sorts of sediment in the bottom.
Right.
And you can rack 1, 2, 3 times. Each time it will be more and more clear, but each time you do lose some beer.
You do sacrifice some of that beer. So.
Which hurts my soul.
Yeah, I know, right?
So we definitely, today we kegged this, right? And there was some in the bottom, and we poured it into a thing, and it's pretty cloudy. We're like, let's see if we can get it out of there without the sediment. We did not.
It didn't happen.
It's in the fridge right now, settling. We're going to try. We'll see what happens. Might be just a very gassy night.
That's all right. That's all right. I have the Mac and Jack clone that I really need to put in the keg.
Yeah, man.
So,
didn't we brew that before? Or?
No, it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay, yeah.
2 weeks ago to the day.
Were you going to keg it or rack it?
No, it's already a rack. I need to keg it. I'm usually going to keg, so. No. Mac and Jack clone was that before or after the Newcastle clone? The second Newcastle clone. I don't remember.
Well, the second Newcastle clone just got racked, and that's pretty much on schedule. So the Mac and Jack had to be before
the second Newcastle.
Before the second Newcastle.
Because it's sat 2 weeks in the primary, and then to this day it would be 2 weeks in the secondary. So it's definitely ready. I probably could have racked it or moved it to the keg, Friday. It would have been fine, but
yeah,
it got busy. Life gets in the way sometimes.
Well, and that's what happened here. No chance to broadcast, no chance to taste together. I got it. For one thing, we needed to have room to put this beer in something.
I know, right? So,
all right. What is this beer? Oh, stout.
The stout.
Right. Okay.
Irish stout.
All right, I'm back with it.
Did you forget already?
Yes, that fast, dude. We brew a lot of beer, man. Come on, leave me alone. All right, do the next ones. Next ones. All right. Can I have one?
Oh,
please?
Yeah. You can have this one more full. I think I had a bigger snifter. What do we have here?
All right, so now this is the Newcastle clone.
Okay.
The Newcastle clone went into the secondary today, so we're just clearing it up a little bit.
It was racked, yep.
Yep.
A little cloudy, but that's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, the next time around it should be a little more clear.
Right.
It's not horrible, although you can't really see. Nah, I definitely can't see my finger through there. So you're right.
Yeah.
It's a little dense.
It's fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. All right.
Doesn't taste bad.
No, this tastes just fine. And it wasn't. I mean, it looked just fine when I racked it. You know,
I got a floater.
there was no sorts of pellicle or anything on top of it. This one was done right. I was actually pretty careful about the whole sanitization thing after you left.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
But so anyhow, this one definitely has more character than that other one that we just drank.
definitely.
If you ask me.
It has a little bit of a malty flavor like it should because it's
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle Brown Ale. Has not a weird smell, but just an aroma that I can't place, man. Like, it doesn't smell like a beer.
Barnyard.
Is it a barnyard? Is that what a barnyard smells like?
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are still open for anybody to send us what a barnyard tastes like. Because we still don't know.
What that tastes like. I just realized I didn't bring that book again that I was going to give you.
I don't think you want to give me that book.
I do want to give it to you. I don't need two of them.
I'm starting to believe you don't really. Maybe it means something to you deep down, subliminally. You don't even know. You're not even aware of how much this book means to you.
It doesn't mean it. I mean, I appreciated where it came from, but I already have a copy of this book. It's a homebrew, Joy of Home Brewing. Now I was going to give him my extra copy, and I keep forgetting to bring it. Whenever we get together, or if he comes to my house, I forget to hand it to him before he leaves.
Or maybe I forget to ask for it.
Yeah.
You know. You
So
don't have to
not important to you then, is it?
Maybe not. You know how I feel about dead trees. The entire world of literature can fit on a thumb drive, and it should be on a thumb drive. I'm just saying I can bring the entire Library of Congress with me in a 4-pound hard drive.
Yeah, I know.
I do think that the hard drive would have to be pretty big for the Library of Congress.
That's a lot of text, yeah.
Yes, but still, my point.
Right. Oh no, it came in handy when I was deployed overseas. You know, I didn't have room for all those books, but I definitely had room on my hard drive.
Yep.
For a lot of books,
one thing I definitely like. I like e-readers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They don't even have to be backlit. I like e-ink. I
Oh,
like
okay.
that. I mean, I use my iPad for a lot of stuff just because I can't afford to be chasing 9,000 gadgets to satisfy my every whim.
Gotcha.
You know, I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if I could do that. You know, what's that guitar for? That guitar is for playing on Tuesdays at 9 in the morning. What about the next one? Well, that one's for Tuesdays at 10 in the morning. You have a different guitar for each hour of the day. Well, it's just Tuesdays.
Just Tuesdays.
On Wednesdays, we break it into 15-minute segments, and those are those guitars.
120 degrees.
To be honest, if I was that rich, I probably wouldn't do that.
There's probably somebody out there that's that eccentric.
Yeah, I guess
My
so.
Monday guitar, my Friday guitar, after 2 p.m. guitar.
The
No.
slightly inebriated guitar and the stone sober guitar.
That one's always out of tune, so I play that when I'm buzzed.
Yeah, I can't. I've tried. I just feel better. All right, so there you go. I thought that one turned out well. Once it's carbonated and all that.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll definitely. I'm hoping that pale ale will have a little bit more body after it carbonates, because carbonation process does affect the flavor of your beer. You know, it really does. So.
Well, if you carbonate water, like just water.
Oh yeah,
it increases the acidity. So what's that?
You ever had this plain carbonated water? It's terrible.
It's gross.
It's terrible.
It's not pleasant at all.
I believe that's what tonic water is.
Yes.
Just carbonated water.
That's it. Yeah. Carbonated water. Well, it increases the acidity in it somehow. So, carbon dioxide does it. It's not inert.
Right.
So it's like, yeah. All right. So moving on to the session ale.
Which we've had before many times. Challenge accepted.
What the heck, dude?
I'll be there in a moment.
I'll wait. Always waiting.
It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon.
It is, and we're brewing beer. You're right. There's no need to rush.
Oops. I was trying to avoid that chunky, but I guess I'm going to have to consume it.
It's probably just some shrub. Dead yeast cells.
Dead yeast. It's going to give me gas later, but what else is new?
It's all right. You'll be home with your wife and kids.
All right. Session ale. Definitely smell the hops in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not all super hoppy like I'm drinking a Christmas tree, like some of those ales are, or IPAs. You know?
Yeah, no, this one's whatever the IBUs on this are not terrible. Does it say on the can by any chance?
Not
By
sure
any
what.
chance, does
There's a
it
can
say
right there.
on the can? I know. I'm gonna pick up the can.
We're almost at 130 degrees, so we're getting there. I'm gonna start turning the heat down just a little bit so I can equalize. I'm gonna get my timer set up.
Puerto Rico.
What?
Puerto Rico.
It's made in Puerto Rico.
Well,
I thought Founders was out of like Oregon.
Well, this says Puerto Rico. Or maybe that is a mandate from the founders to the country, Commonwealth, Island of Puerto Rico. Because immediately after that, it says, protect the environment, do not litter. So maybe they're mad at Puerto Rico, and they've told the Puerto Ricans to not litter via their beer cans.
You see it? Yeah?
Did you get rid of your beer can already?
No. Oh, I didn't. I thought I had.
I mean, the answer is yes, you can, but 4.7 alcohol, 42 IBUs. Brewed by Founders Brewing Company, Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah. I don't know why it says Puerto Rico on the can. Just by itself, it's weird.
Yep, just randomly on there.
Maybe
Puerto
maybe the cans are made in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Like the aluminum's pressed into the can. Maybe
It's possible. It's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible. Interesting.
So yeah, 42 IBUs. 4.7.
By the way, you totally could have taken my can.
Oh, I know.
This is like.
No, you made a good point. It's like, oh yeah, I do have
Don't
my
you still
can.
have yours? Huh? Weird.
So it's Colorado, not Oregon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good old Boulder, Colorado. So it's probably made by Coors, really. Probably owned by Coors.
Probably a lot of these smaller craft beer style breweries are owned by big breweries. You know, Anheuser-Busch owns something.
Well, they start out and they do a good job, and the big guys come in and say, "Hey, I'll give you $100 million for that."
You're a threat, so we're gonna buy you. just like Google and other big companies acquiring smaller companies. Microsoft has acquired all kinds of smaller companies. Google Firebase, which we're using for stuff, that was its own thing for a while until Google acquired it. You know,
maybe that's why it sucks now.
Maybe.
We have not been having fun with Firebase lately.
No. Probably not going to use it, but for the most simplistic use cases, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, e-commerce, not one of them.
Not one of them. Yeah, this is hard.
Not one of them. Oh, we're frozen again, aren't we?
Well, that's just there. We're
That's
still,
right.
we're still broadcasting. There's a little screen that we
Little
can't see anything. Chase, make a comment. Let's see if the comments still work. Pretty sure they do.
All right. So yeah, man.
So what are we sitting at?
We are at, I'm going to wager 135. I did turn the heat down a slight bit so it can equalize. 134. Still climbing. 134.8.
Which is pretty much 135.
Yeah. Around that. 135 on this side.
This pan does not heat evenly.
I don't know if it's the pan or the way it sits on the fire, you know? I don't know, man.
I don't think it's important. It's liquid, man, at all.
Yeah, it'll get swirled around.
It moves around. It's okay.
But 20 degrees will, actually less than that, about 15 degrees will come up quick. So yeah, we're at 136.
No, yeah, absolutely. You know, sometimes you gotta throttle back as you get to
That's what I did. I
your
just
target point. Otherwise, you just go
down
scorching
just
past
a little
it.
bit. So I was thinking about my IoT project for the beer freezer again. I kind of backburnered my project.
IoT.
Internet of Things. It's just kind of a blanket term for
Yeah,
things that are connected to the internet. You
Yeah.
know, like random devices, coffee pots, televisions. I mean, even your smartphone is technically an IoT device because it has sensors on it. You know,
They do what?
Well, it read whatever. I mean, your phone
Like
has
Bluetooth?
what's that?
Talking
No.
Bluetooth?
Like your phone can has microphones. It has
True.
what am I trying to think of? Like not compasses, but like variable geometry. Like it knows which way.
Like gyroscopes?
Gyroscopes, yeah. Sensors. You know, some phones could
Probably
probably.
3-ring laser gyroscopes?
I doubt it.
Probably not. Those things are
But,
probably pretty.
You know, a lot of IoT devices are out there. Probably like a couple billion are out there, and they do things like monitor moisture in the soil, or they monitor this or that. And they send it to cloud services. It's modern technology. It's great stuff. My little IoT project is
until Skynet. Keep going.
Skynet. So my little IoT project, as mentioned a few episodes ago, was I wanted to kind of automate my keg system to where I knew how much beer I had in a keg at any given time and what kind of beer it was.
So you wouldn't be surprised when you ran out of beer.
Right. So we don't
Like
go have
I
a beer
was
and all of a sudden get
ago.
a bunch of foam. You know, oh man, you know.
It's okay at midnight when you're like thinking about going to bed anyways. You're like,
Right.
I guess I won't have my last beer. But it sucks at like 10 till midnight when you really still want 3 more beers before you rack out.
Right.
That's a joke.
So my idea was to get some load cells or some kind of weight detecting systems in there to put the kegs on, calibrate it all out, and then
And
use
Blackberry Pi.
use like a phone,
Raspberry Pi.
use like a phone, and then to calibrate stuff, and then monitor things. Like if I wanted to see how much beer I had, it's like, oh, I have this much beer, So that project is back in the forward part of my mind again. So
I think it's a pretty cool idea, man. You just got to find a place to buy those sensors.
The internet. There's a lot of, Radio Shack used to be the place to go when you needed components, electrical components, back in the day.
Mhm.
I guess it still is. We don't have a Radio Shack anymore here, but
I don't think anybody has a Radio Shack, man. I mean,
did it go away?
No, I don't know if it's out of business completely.
But point being is Radio
Look it
Shack
up.
used to be the place to go for stuff like that. But now there's tons of suppliers that, through the internet, I can order whatever I need, any kind of components I need. And I was going to use a Raspberry Pi, which is essentially a full computer on a credit card sized chip, roughly, and use that to kind of process the data from the sensors and then send it to wherever I want to send it, whatever display I want to use. So I think what I'll do is I'll document every step of the way, either through photos or video, and then maybe make a little blog post a little later about how I did all that, just for if anybody else wants to do that. Because all the hardware and software I'm going to use or write is going to be free and open source. I'm not going to keep it to myself. I'm going to publish it. So, I mean, obviously I'm not publishing someone else's software that's open, but anything I write, I'll make freely available to anybody who wants to use it. And then what's up?
Keep going.
And then I want to take it a step further and build my tap system, which I've mentioned. And I want to be able to monitor the CO2 and, all kinds of little things. I almost make it like a little self-sufficient restaurant or bar, but in my man cave.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know.
Look at
They're gone.
Oh,
Radio Shack is gone. Apparently, they went under Chapter 11, which is not
bankruptcy.
That's not, yeah, but it's not Chapter 7. Chapter 11 is where they get to reorganize their debts, basically.
Oh.
It's totally crap. There should be no Chapter 11. It's like you sucked at business, you're gone. And now smart people who know how to run businesses, they get a chance. That's the way it should be. But
Gotcha.
It's not the way it is. So they did Chapter 11 twice, and I didn't actually click on any of those. So, well, let me do I'll filter this and go past year. Left 4 Dead twice. Radio Shack gets another shot online.
Okay. That sounds familiar, actually. I think I'd heard that before.
Radio Shack, a fixture at the mall for decades, has been pulled from brink of death again.
Yet again. Just like Chevy and GM and all those car manufacturers a few years ago.
So this is November 2020, so
But they were almost there.
not even a year ago. That one, I'm not really reading these because
No, that's fine. It was just
So the
more
last,
curiosity
yeah,
thing.
the last interesting thing. So no, they're not gone, but yes, they're gone.
Right, brick and mortar side is gone, but you can still order, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean they might have some little brick and mortar
Right.
thing going on, but it's not going to be anything notable.
Right, but the whole point was, Radio Shacks used to be your go-to place for electronics components. You can go buy your diodes and your resistors, whatever you needed, boards.
Yeah.
But now there's tons of sites out there that have that same kind of equipment. One of them is called Adafruit. It has an Ada Lovelace. And Adafruit is a supplier for Raspberry Pi boards, plus all other kinds of boards, Adrenos, all those little things that are out there for tinkerers and little hardware hackers and stuff. And then that's what IoT stuff is. You
Like
connect.
the guy who built the box that was stolen by
That guy was awesome.
with the glitter and the fart
bombs and the glitter.
and the GPS, so he could go get his box back.
That guy is awesome. I think he's an engineer, like a full-on engineer.
He like worked it for NASA or something for a bit, but yeah, that guy. I mean, that's what he does, and he's like, why can't I science my way into this?
Yeah.
And it was entertaining as all get out. Oh my goodness, so fun.
And what he was doing was he was trying to troll people that would come up and steal like your Amazon packages like at Christmas time off your porches. Porch pirates.
Pirates.
These boxes were so funny because it would just blow up glitter and fart bombs and just make a bunch of noise. And there was a camera in it, so you could see this person who was trying to steal that box. You could see the reactions to it, and some of them were just hilarious, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were great.
And usually they would find the box like abandoned in a dumpster or something. That's how they get their boxes back.
Yeah, they get the box back. That was cool because people didn't want to touch it after it glitterized the inside of their Cadillac.
And it was machined. It was metal framed and stuff on the inside. So I mean, these guys.
No, this dude did it right.
These guys have built it. Yeah. I think it was one dude, for a while. But he's kind of expanded his trolling now. And one of the last little YouTube episodes I saw was he was helping an old lady that had been duped by some kind of
Oh really?
Ring, yeah. I can't remember what it was, but it was this ring in India that would act like they were part of a bank or something, and then they would just dupe people that just don't understand how that works. And this lady ended up paying like $70,000 or something like that, life savings type stuff. And thankfully they were able to get the money back. But then the old lady agreed to kind of be duped again, and they tracked down where this was coming from. It was it was like an international ring where people in the U.S. were part of it, and money was going overseas. You
know who else got duped by? I heard this story about this other group that got duped by that. You know who it was? Washington's Unemployment Insurance Agency.
Jeez.
$300 million.
Of course, I actually heard that too.
Go Washington State.
Somebody
off to Nigeria.
Somebody tried to use my wife's information to get unemployment when that
really?
COVID first hit. Yeah, because all of a sudden, someone, where she works, the management was like, "Hey, we need to talk to you." Because I guess there's like a notification that goes through, and so they're like, "Yeah, someone's trying to apply for unemployment in your name." So they got it all fixed, but it's just like that means her information's out there then somewhere,
Well, I mean, come on.
Probably all of ours is, but
me and you,
military,
freaking social security numbers spread like peanut butter across the whole world. And you watch Yugle and Gahoo.
Googling.
Anyways, all these big companies like, yeah, we got hacked. We lost 350,000 accounts.
We're temperature. Yay.
Yeah, not surprised.
All right,
is it holding pretty good?
It's at 152. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer.
Good idea.
How did you do that?
Turn it down just a wee bit. Try to stabilize it between about 155. Yeah, it just baffles me that these big companies that have the resources but just don't take their security seriously enough, man. It's just,
right?
Or they have inept people trying to be their security officers, It just baffles me.
Mom, me and my friends are going for a ride.
We interrupt this broadcast to say goodbye to the children.
Join us.
Later, dude.
All right, bye, guys.
Going to drive-in?
Hope you guys have fun with your movie.
But I'm not going to spoil the new movie I saw.
Okay.
Tell me
Sounds
how it
good,
ends. I don't think he caught that.
Oh, they heard you? Yeah. Or he ignored you.
He does that too. Not very often, though. He's a good kid.
All right. So, yeah, man, it just, I don't know. So it just seems like in this country, the cybersecurity is just not taken seriously enough by, especially the big players out there that have our information like that. Or they just have enough people in those positions making poor decisions, or don't know what they're really doing,
Maybe it's on purpose.
It could be. It's one of those things where, like,
it's like the cabal.
Like I firmly believe, like, auto parts are designed to fail, so you have to buy them. Same with the cell phones and anything as consumers we buy that are mechanical or electronic. I firmly believe they're designed to fail, so you have to keep buying it. Because why would you buy something that never fails? Because that company would not make enough money. You know what I mean?
Right. I read something about the whole lithium-ion battery, and it has a limited amount of charges, and it dies. And it's like there was a couple guys who was like, "That's not true." And I didn't follow up on it, and it looked kind of like one of those sketchy. That's not true. People don't want to believe it's true, therefore they follow these guys and click on their clickbait bullshit.
Right.
And,
Oh, S-bomb.
Okay, that's too
We're still
bad.
PG though. We're still PG.
All right, we're safe.
You didn't. You know. You said hell earlier, so and you dropped one S-bomb, so we're still PG.
Having a bad
Now,
day.
if we do another S-bomb, then we're going to move to 13, PG-13.
You'll get us there, I'm sure.
I'm sure I will.
Usually it's you making all the.
I know, right?
You're the sinner, not me. All right.
So, but these guys though.
So, anyways, it's just, you know how you see those videos out there. It's like, Google wants you to believe this, but this is the truth. And so you click on their thing.
Like InfoWars.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Except this is for lithium-ion batteries and stuff. And here's the thing I know: nothing's forever.
Nothing.
Nothing. I mean, even that thing that lasts for a long, long time, it still doesn't last forever. You're still gonna have to fix it.
Yeah.
I think
Which is another controversy if you want to go down the right to repair rabbit hole, but that's
Yeah.
another conversation.
Ooh, right to repair. That sounds like a fun conversation.
Yeah. Thanks, Apple.
So what did Apple do about the right to repair? You're not allowed to fix Apple stuff technically.
No. Why do you think they solder hard drives in place and RAM in place? So you have to take it to their service centers. They don't want you to repair their equipment. You know. What they want you to do is turn in your broken stuff and buy another one.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of disappointed because I bought Jaime an iPad, right? And I'm not a super sentimental guy, but I got a few things in my life that have sentimental value. That iPad happened to be one of them. It was fully functional, right? Like it was still internet worthy and type stuff. So like my G5 down in the basement, technically fully functional.
Still works, just not very well.
You know, well,
Not very efficient, I should say.
I guess. Well, you know, the thing is, so from power off to ready to go, it is still the fastest computer in the house.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Wow. This is like a 12 or 13-year-old computer he's talking about.
2005, baby.
That's what my truck is.
16-year computer.
16
16 years old, right? But now what we're saying, right, is we're saying so this is dead. The
Right.
laptop
Off.
is dead. Power off, right? Press the power button, get to the login screen, because that's pretty much where you're going to stop, right? Yeah, that bugger's faster. And after the login, if you pause, ready to start opening apps and things, that bugger's still faster.
Jeez, man.
Now,
Crazy.
watch what happens when you open a website. Any website.
Hey.
Yeah. I'm done.
Well, we ought to, just for fun, I should bring my newer one over and see if the M1 performs against that old G5 as far as boot up and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's just the boot up, I think. You know, I mean, so I keep it around because it's still a great hard disk recorder.
Right.
You know.
Still has a purpose. You know?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the recording studio, man, the thing still does what it's supposed to do. Although I'm starting to collect gear, you know, I got that Motu, that Mark of the Unicorn interface, which we need to start using in this broadcast just so we can control the audio a little better.
I got you.
So I got that, and I'm going to start collecting more gear. Eventually, I'm going to get, I think my next purchase, as much as I hate to admit it, is probably going to be a new MacBook of some sort.
Right.
I'll wait for a bit. What I really want is I want the new cheese grater.
Oh.
I really do. I want the new cheese grater. I know there's a whole thing about, but
Oh no, there's nothing. The cheese grater is. I mean, I think your base price is like $6,000 just for the base model, and that's not even including a monitor or keyboard or anything. That is just a cheese grater.
$12,000 for the one that I want.
You know, yeah.
And the reason for that is because I want to, whether I will ever or not, but I want to be able to access that 1 terabyte of RAM.
Right.
And to get to that,
Well,
you got to get like a certain amount of cores. And to get to those cores, you're starting at like $12,000.
Right. Yeah. And that's the other thing that kind of pisses me off with Apple is for whatever stupid reason, their laptops like MacBook Pros, Airs and all that, they still offer them in 8 gigabyte RAM models. Nobody uses 8 gigabytes of RAM anymore. The baseline should be 16 or more. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
They are not selling computers to you
I know.
or
I know.
me. And here's the reason is like, so you and I, and a lot of people, we're not the only ones. It's not like we're special.
Why
people.
buy a $2,400 email machine? Come on. You know what I mean? Because people do, you know?
Why buy $250 sneakers? Think back before, you know, because now our devices, These are our new status symbols, right?
Right.
I've got the iPhone 11. I've got the iPhone 12. I've got the iPhone XR. I've got this. I've got the Samsung, yada, 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 et cetera,
Right.
et cetera. I've got wearables. I've got this, right? But back in the day, status symbol of clothing was a big thing. You remember?
Air Jordans in the late
Yeah.
80s, early 90s. Oh, yeah.
Sneakers for like $300 for a pair of sneakers.
Back when I was in high school, people get beat up for their sneakers. Some people even got killed over their shoes. You know?
Yeah, that's.
I don't
I'm
know,
glad I
not
didn't
where
live
I'm
where
from,
you
but
live.
just there was stuff on the news where, like in New York and some of the bigger cities, man.
Yeah.
People actually got killed over their shoes.
Yep, we're gonna take your shoes. But my point being, is, were Air Jordans better than just a good solid pair of basketball
No, they were
shoes?
probably made in Thailand by 10-year-olds. No different than, the $30 shoes you could buy at the time.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to support America, for those of us, for our American audience, buy New Balance. They are still made in America.
They are?
Yep.
Sweet. I didn't know that.
New Balance.
I did not know that.
It's part of the reason that's what you kind of get default in the military.
I know, right? Yeah, when I went through basic training, the choice was New Balance or Nikes. I actually didn't really have a choice. They just gave me whatever.
Yeah, I was
You're gonna
say,
wear these.
You got a choice?
Yeah, I didn't have a choice, but those
Mine
were the
was
two.
New Balance.
Those were the two that they were issuing to the recruits when I went through in '95.
So apparently New Balance has managed to, I don't know if they're solely made in America, but they have true American factories.
They
where
probably
the
source some
shoe
materials from outside.
is
but-
made in the United States. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everyone does. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's like that discussion we had the other day where people are like, oh, American. It's like, American is not necessarily better. I mean, Japanese cars.
Yeah.
I got a Toyota. You got a Toyota. Now, granted, we both agree that Toyota is kind of an American company at this point.
My truck was
I mean-
made in Ohio. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way.
But Toyota, and then we talked about the business climate, the business culture, how
Right.
they do, and that's a Japanese thing. And the big three need to pull their heads out.
Right.
Notice I stopped short, so we're still PG.
We
Or
are.
are we 13? I
No,
forgot.
we're not 13 yet. We're still PG.
Anyways, my point is the big three, they need to take a look around. It's like, look, you need to change your business model. That whole 2000, that TARP, remember during TARP, what was TARP? What does TARP stand for?
I don't remember that one.
Oh, it was the big bailout. It's the big
Oh,
government
yeah.
bailout.
Okay.
Anyways, during that one, Ford apparently managed to avoid asking for money, but Chevy and Dodge were
Well,
crawling on their knees.
Ford was bailed out before, though. They got bailed out
Oh yeah,
before all that happened. There was another period in time where Ford was hurting. I can't remember where. I think it was the 80s, maybe even the 70s. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But Ford got bailed out, so they're
Well,
they're
they
part
had-
of that too.
they have all done that. But the thing is that they need to get rid of this "we're American, therefore we're better." It's like, no, man. Why do you think Cadillac's big claim to fame is not how amazing it is, but the fact that the bumper falls off? You know, it's just like these Japanese companies, and I don't fault them. You know, it's just like they're making better stuff.
Yeah.
My van has 300,000 miles on it. I've replaced one transmission. I mean, I was, you replaced the whole transmission. Yeah. Why don't you go find an F-250 that has 300,000 miles on it and see how many large components have been replaced?
Yeah, no kidding, right?
It'll be like axles, wheels, transmissions, and motors. The only thing left is the frame. The frame has 300,000 miles on it. And no sign, I love America, but geez, it just frustrates me when people do that.
Yeah.
Oh, American.
We
It's like,
gotta get over that. Just because by virtue of being American, that it's automatically a better product. That's not the case.
yeah, and the problem is that there is one thing that guaranteed if it's made in America, it will be more expensive.
That's true.
Because they have to pay their workers, whatever they're paying, whatever the union has negotiated, or at least minimum wage, right? And whatever minimum wage your state has decided, right? So federal minimum wage is what, $7.25?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which doesn't make much sense because
It's not an important number because I know Washington is like $13.60, right?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know.
And they're aiming for 15, but the state hasn't hit 15. Seattle's hit 15. So the point is, if Apple builds its computers in Thailand, it can pay that guy however many dollars an hour or a day,
Sense maybe.
yeah, to build that computer, right?
Right.
Now the thing is like people are like, oh, that's so. It's like, well, here a gallon of milk costs $4. In Thailand, a gallon of milk costs 22 cents. It's like, so yes, he gets paid much less, but what it costs for him to
Right.
live,
Cost of living is. We're just using Thailand arbitrarily. Okay,
yes,
we're not.
totally
We're
arbitrarily.
not picking on anybody. It's just as a nation that produces stuff, I mean, the cost of living is cheaper out there.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Thailand in ever. I've never been to Thailand.
I've been to Thailand 3 times.
I waved at it.
During my military time.
Both ways.
Didn't spend more than 5 days each time I was there. I was, but the ratio of the U.S. dollar to the baht was nice. I mean, and things were inexpensive. I could spend a few baht on stuff, and like a beer, for instance, I could go buy a beer for maybe a couple hundred baht. It only equated to maybe $3 or $4. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
if that even so.
But that was always, whenever we got off boats and things, it's like, oh, man, the American dollar is 500,000 of these. That's true. But it costs 1 million of those for 2 ounces of beer.
And that happened to me in the country of Turkey. We were visiting Turkey, and I went to a cafe, just had a cappuccino with some friends, and I think I had a pastry or something, or some soup. Got my bill. It was like 2 million Turkish lira, which was about $20. But it was funny to see that many numbers on my bill,
Kind of intimidating.
It's like, whoa, 2 million? But yeah, like $20 and some change at the end,
Right. But the whole thing is like, so let's pretend here a gallon of milk is $2. And in country X, a gallon of milk is 200 of whatever their currency is.
Right.
But it happens to be that their currency is 100 to one of the dollars. So what that means is that there, a gallon of milk is still $2.
Right. It just, it kind of comes out in the wash.
Yeah.
We're almost too high.
But it doesn't. I mean, because there are definitely countries where the cost of living is lower.
Flame is still on enough. Yeah, we got a tiny little flame.
That's all we need, just enough to keep it hot.
Yeah. 16 minutes remaining on the countdown.
But the point being is that, what was the point? Is that American products, they are not superior in their longevity or their quality or anything.
And maybe some are, but you just can't defer automatically.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can't say, but maybe some are just on the basis of this company, right? Urban Carry Holsters. They make great holsters, and this company doesn't, right?
Right.
That's not American. That's Urban Carry. They have a company culture of making great things, right? So that's not, and then they happen to be an American company, right?
Sure.
But what I was saying is that the one thing you can count on is that American products will be more expensive.
Right.
Because, companies have to pay more to get those products produced. And if it is produced solely in the United States, you're going to pay more for it. And the sad thing is that the truth of life is that the dollar is the king. Why do you think Walmart is still in business? Walmart is the most maligned corporation of the maligned corporations. They are more evil than Amazon.
No kidding.
If you think about it, just what you hear in the news and what you see, you've somehow managed to screw up all your social media so you can't use it. Well done. That's actually probably good for you.
Just Facebook's when they don't get on anymore.
Yeah, that's right. So I've seen you on Twitter once in the past 8 months. Once.
This doesn't appeal to me. I don't care for all that.
Dude, I need support.
Yeah.
I need to be supported on Twitter. You need to be there for me. What it was? I thought we were friends. I thought we were like there for each other.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get you another beer for that.
Yeah, we need beers.
Mm-hmm. I will be right back.
We are. No doubt about it. No, we're getting there. Doing better with the temperature regulation this time, keeping it less than 160. So kind of where we want it, right in the middle between 150 and 160. And if it goes over, so be it. You just try to regulate a little bit more. It's not going to really affect it too much. You just wouldn't want to keep it over your temperature for too long. Perfect. 156. One of these video sessions, we should probably either let it go through the whole thing so you can see us do the second part, or maybe start the camera later in the brewing so you can see us finish the brewing up and then the wort chilling and all that stuff. Because usually you see the beginning and you see the middle. But I don't think we've broadcasted the end ever. All right. Smells kind of like oatmeal, actually. They're still good at 155, 156, depending where you put the thermostat or thermometer. All right, thank you.
You are most welcome. So you should talk more about your IoT thing.
Oh, I mean, I could try. I kind of hit all the wickets. You know.
Well, you gave a broad overview.
Well, I haven't really sat down and figured out exactly how I want to do it. I just kind of know basically I'm going to get those load cells that are going to be wired into the Raspberry Pi, and then the Raspberry Pi will have some kind of server on. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a little web server, and just that way I could just use it like a web page and look at everything on there. Or well, I haven't really decided yet. You know, but
use Node.js
no, actually, I'll probably
and
use Python.
Apache.
No. Apache probably, because I think I can use it on, because Raspberry Pi runs on Linux. It'll have a Linux operating system. A Raspberry Pi is literally just a little mini computer. It has all the same input-output capability and peripherals as a computer. It's compared to like a programmable chip, like an Arduino. It's a programmable chip. It's a little bit different. You know what I mean?
Oh, what is the difference?
It's not a computer. It's a programmable chip. So it limits on what it can do. An Arduino cannot use Wi-Fi, or things like that. It's just a chip that can process signals, And from a 10,000-foot view, I mean, there's probably some more details.
No, I get it. I just like.
But a Raspberry Pi is literally.
So it has inputs soldered onto a board.
Inputs and outputs. Yeah, I can run a monitor. I can connect to the network card. I can connect to a Raspberry Pi through Wi-Fi. I can connect a keyboard to it. You know what I mean?
Does it just have? Is it just like super small? Like it has 512 megabytes of RAM or something?
No, I think they're
Does
up
it
to.
have
I think there's it has to. It has to. I think the biggest I've seen so far is an 8 gigs of RAM on a Raspberry
Really?
Pi.
How big?
It's about that big.
So why is this thing so big?
Because Apple.
Well, that kind of explains it all, actually.
Well, that thing has a monitor. It has graphical interface and all that. Whereas a Raspberry Pi is just a chip. You have to provide all that stuff for it. You know what I mean? I mean, the card has the ports for the interfaces, but you have to provide your own monitor, your own keyboard, your own mouse if you're going to do it that way. But it runs Linux. It runs.
So it has a USB port.
Yeah, a USB-C on it too now.
Wow. How about cooling fans? No.
There's no cooling fans on it that I'm aware of.
Doesn't need them?
I don't think it needs them.
Because it's super
usually
lightweight.
It's wide open. It's not encased. You can buy little enclosures for it. You might want to put some fans on it to do that, because once you enclose that chip, that heat's going to start building up.
Well, it sounds like it's just a motherboard.
But it doesn't. Oh yeah, it's a motherboard. Essentially, that's what it is. Yeah, that's good. It is. It's a motherboard just shrunk down, and you can get one for like $45. I want to say, for the more expensive versions. The higher RAM version.
The more expensive versions are $45?
Yeah, I know. And that was why the Raspberry Pi took off in the tinker hardware hacker space, because it was an affordable, completely programmable mini computer. You know what I mean?
So it's a Linux box, though.
Yeah.
Or it's not really a box, but.
Yeah, it runs Linux. You put it on a SD card and you run it from the SD card, and it runs a Linux operating system. Usually Debian.
I just find it really interesting. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to find what's the difference between a Raspberry Pi and a motherboard,
Size.
Size.
Form factor, as they call it.
Does it have like a power supply?
Yeah, you can plug it in. You have to buy all that stuff separately, though. If you buy a Raspberry Pi, it's just a Raspberry Pi. So where they make their money is the peripherals. You want that too? That's extra.
Sure.
With the power supply.
No, I just find it very interesting.
Yeah.
The whole.
But it's literally just a computer. I mean, it's not much different than those little Macs that are about that big. I forget what they're called.
I'm an idiot.
What'd you do?
My beer is clear over there.
Oh, you're gonna have to use the force then.
Yeah, right. Watch this.
Mini Mac Mini, whatever they call it. It's kind of the same concept. It's just it's a small computer on a chip. You know, single board. I think another way to describe it is a single board computer. I've heard it described as
Single board computer.
yeah, single board computer. Now, it doesn't have the processing power or something like that. Like its processor is not that powerful. You know what I mean? But as far as like RAM capacity, yeah, you can get up to an 8 gig version of a Raspberry Pi. But there's a lot of other little computer chip board manufacturers besides Raspberry Pi. There's Arduino, which is not so much a computer, but it's a programmable chip. So it can accept inputs like from sensors, and then you can send outputs to places. But you're not really running an operating system. It's just programmable logic. It's a PLC. You know what I mean? And then there's one called BeagleBone, which I'm not sure if it's a computer on a chip. Was it Intel? Somebody made one called Edison. I just checked it. It's fine. Someone made a computer called an Edison, which I don't know if it's still out there or not. But for a while, there was all these little computers or programmable controllers on a chip, you know, on a board, a breadboard. Was kind of the name for it.
Yeah. Well, I know what a breadboard is. Yeah. I'm just wondering what.
But in the IoT world, that's very common to use that for your processor to process your signals from your sensors.
So you get an operating system with it.
Yeah.
Type deal, and it's Linux. But basically, it's pretty low powered. So like,
yeah, very low power.
Would it do what this computer does off to my right?
No, not at all, man. Not to that level. You wouldn't have. I mean, if you put a monitor on it, the graphics are not going to be that powerful. I mean, it's going to be very basic, you know, basic graphics. If you know, I don't even know if you can even have a windowing system on it or not. It might just be more of a command line interface, even with the monitor. So,
gotcha. It's still cool.
Which is fine because that's what you would need it. You would essentially make it a little server for something or something to process signals.
Yeah, something that didn't need to do a lot of that silly stuff.
And that's what my idea is. I think I'll use the Raspberry Pi to read the sensors from whatever I set up, you know, for the kegs, and then whatever I decide to do with that sensor data, however I decide to format it and use it to display to me, you know, which I haven't really thought that far yet. I know I want to do that, but I don't know how I'm going to do that yet or what I'm going to use to do that. You know, I'll probably just end up making a little web server and just connect to it through Wi-Fi, you know, locally, and you know, check it out. That, or maybe send all the information to a cloud server somewhere with a domain name, and I could like be anywhere in the world and check my freezer and be like, oh, I'm almost out of Stout.
Can't do anything about it. I'm in India.
Yeah.
I'll call someone. Refill the Stout. Right.
Switch the keg over. But that's the idea behind it. And then maybe if I expand my little tap system I want to do, probably have some other sensors in there or something.
I will totally buy this
Flow
from you.
Flow sensors. Then I can read how much is flowing through, how fast, for calibration purposes. You know, I can read temperatures, not just temperatures in the keg, but temperatures at the tap, at the line. Because you know, depending on how long my hoses are going to be, there's going to be, like, remember Ben was talking about like 5 feet of hose. There's going to be room temperature beer in there.
Right.
You know, and so I can kind of monitor temperatures or whatever, see how things are going. I don't know. It's really endless. Pretty much anything that has a sensor available, I could use it in some form or fashion if I were to choose to. You know.
That is super cool.
And like I said, I think I'll photo document and video document the whole process as I do it, whether I post it or not. You know, at least I'll have something. If I did, let's say, a blog post explaining what I did by steps, and then that way someone can repeat if they wanted. You know, this isn't something I'm trying to market. So just, you know, because I'm going to be using free and open software, or write my own, which I can make free and open. Yeah, I'm going to buy the Raspberry Pi, but I think the specs are open. I can't remember, man. I think it's considered open hardware. I'd have to verify that. I'm not sure if it is or not. You know.
Still, people, I mean,
the sensors are all just real cheap. It's just various sensors.
You know something I've discovered about myself? A flaw. I view this as a flaw, man. I cannot see anything without thinking about how can I make this into a money-making opportunity.
No, you're an opportunist. and that's fine. You know.
I'm glad you said that's fine. Some people think that's an insult.
No, I don't mean that.
I don't think it's an insult.
I
You're
didn't mean
absolutely
insult.
right.
I meant like you look for a way to, hey, how can I make some money on this? You know, because the world still relies on money.
And it probably always will.
Until our societies don't care about money anymore, then you're gonna have to think of ways to monetize stuff. Maybe I should monetize this.
Well,
sell it as a kit.
Well, Google managed, because that was one of Google's things, is they bought cheap off-the-shelf stuff. Made little microservers all over the place. Goodbye, Jaime.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you, man. Love you too. Okay, thanks. Bye, Devin.
Bye, guys. We having connectivity issues? Or?
No, it's fine. It'll be fine. We're doing fine.
The keys are in the truck?
The keys are in the truck. Go ahead and turn the key, start it,
2 minutes.
drive away. Wow, 2 minutes? Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we're chatting about stuff, it helps the.
It does. It makes time go by quickly.
So, Blue Flame?
We've got a pretty good system going on here, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Well,
we have to relight.
Oh, we have nothing?
Yeah, the flame went out.
Are we cold?
No, we don't have any fire. And we're gonna
Something
need.
just went on.
We're gonna need
We got flame?
We have flame. And we have 2 minutes left, but we're gonna need to get our malts in there.
The extracts and all that fun
The
stuff.
extracts, yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
So yeah, we'll continue our conversation here momentarily.
Good.
We actually almost got too cool. I mean, we actually hit it noon. But that's because the fire went out and we didn't notice it had gone out yet. So we dropped just below 150. But again, suboptimal temperature for a minute or two is probably not going to hurt the beer. It'll be fine. What?
So,
All right. Yeah.
I heard we actually almost got, and then the door closed.
Oh no, it dropped down to like 149, 148
Oh,
because we lost fire. But I was
chill.
telling the camera that we have a. Oh, you're showing it. We need a ladle.
Little. I'll be right back.
I'll get these prepped. Yeah, because we have about 20 seconds. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Time to get sticky. This stuff. Just
Let
do
the
it.
stickiness begin.
All right, there's one.
Oops.
There.
Hmm.
Am I grabbing the? Okay.
Okay, got the ladle.
Ladle.
So you said mind grabbing and then.
Oh, I'm at the lid to this, but I have it. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm a very clean as you go guy. Oh no!
Did you get gunkies on your pants?
No, I think I got it on my shoes.
Oh man, those shoes are not. Why'd you wear those shoes?
Because it's what I have.
Oh well, I guess if that's all you have.
All right, stop.
All right.
So we can do this. I'm gonna turn the fire up down to.
You can probably just kill it, dude. Kill it. We'll throw the stuff in and then we'll relight.
Okay.
When you got the aim and flame, life gets a lot easier.
I know, doesn't it?
That is some dark stuff, dude.
Yeah, it is. But in this case, it's supposed to be.
It's a stout in the modern use of the term, not in the original.
Oh, that and the fact that they used roasted grains, that makes it dark too.
That's one thing. I need to jump on that BYO website.
Oh, that book will teach you that stuff too. The one I keep forgetting.
You keep assuming I want to learn. I just like asking you questions.
I've noticed.
I'm the guy that asks the questions. You provide the answers, and that's our whole show. I ask, you answer, they're entertained. See?
Are you not entertained?
I don't think they are. Chase
Probably
is
not.
there, and I'm not even sure.
I know
Chase
he's
is
probably
there.
still not watching. He's probably like, okay,
It's probably running on his phone, and he's doing something else.
probably playing Fortnite or something. Him and Riley like to play Fortnite.
Oh, that was pretty impressive.
All right, select that.
Just chuck it over there with all the other ones that I haven't cleaned up yet.
That one you're using as a stabilizer.
No, that's Jaime's using it. Jaime did it.
Oh, okay. All right, ready.
Yes, ready. Yeah, that's a really good song.
Yeah.
I really like that song. Like, I like the melody. I like that song. It's a good song. Even if it is supposedly some sort of drinking song.
I don't think it's supposed to be a drinking song.
Well, so here's the thing. If you, a lot of the hymns, especially a lot of your earlier hymns, if you think they were...
Where's the name? What is this one?
Right. Ah, damn it. I tried not to have that happen. Ladle's right there. See, I would just do it yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll just...
I would throw some in there, put a cap on it, shake it a little bit, and let it sit for a couple minutes while you do the other one. Anyways, a lot of the old hymns, they did use popular tunes and melodies, you know, which is not to say that Amazing Grace is a drinking song. Amazing Grace is not a drinking song. I got it.
I thought it was more of a religious thing.
It is. But the melody that we use in America, you know, it might have been a drinking song. I never, you know.
Could have been, yeah.
It's the melody that the hymn was put to.
Right.
And this is, it's, so if you go into, and then I would just let it sit, and then let's do the other one. If you go into, like, the Methodist hymnal, you'll see in the back, it'll be like, this song is intended to be sung with this meter and this rhythm and this, like, this style of like meter and stuff, but it says nothing about the melody. So as long as your melody fits that rhythm and meter, the words in the hymn will come out right.
Right, I got you. We'll follow you.
Let's try and not Uber this one up as bad. Ladle. Oh, a fun word to say. Ladle.
Look, Ma, no burnt hands.
That's nice. I like that. Especially since it's not me getting the burnt hands.
Right? Hope I didn't crack kills everybody there.
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're not good. You mooned the world.
Did I really?
I don't think so. Maybe. The picture's really tiny, so you know you can't tell.
Yeah, I know, right? Sorry, I rolled if I crack killed you there.
All right, that's good. You know, we didn't even really read the directions on this. We're just kind of assuming things.
All right.
But we're not wrong.
No.
Yep.
It seems to be a standard operating procedure for ales like this.
Steep for 30, add all the extracts.
Yep, just as expected.
Yep.
Where's the hops?
They're in the fridge. They're still in the fridge.
Is there a 60-minute drop, or when is it?
There's a 60 and a 5. I think on this one. Let me reread. So again, because we don't want to assume,
Right.
we don't want to assume, if you're brand new and you don't know anything about brewing, so what we've done so far is we've basically made grain tea.
Pretty much.
All right, so, and just like with tea, you only steep your tea leaves for a certain amount of time. Same deal with this. You only steep your grains for a certain amount of time.
All right, get some heat on.
All right, your table is better for this than mine.
Here, I'm gonna.
So much easier than using the Zippo.
Yeah. I need to go get the sticky off. I'll be back.
All right, I'll be
grab
right
that
here.
hot packet too.
What's that?
I'll grab the first hot packet.
Yep. Hold on a minute. You want to grab Magnum. There's two different kinds of hops. There's Magnum and there's Northern Brewer. Grab
Okay.
Magnum.
The Magnum copy.
Yep. So, as I was saying, so far we've done is made grain tea. Now the next thing that we did is we added what they call malt extracts. And the extracts are basically all the sugars that they have extracted out of the various hops, the barley hops that they use to make the sugars for the beers. And then we add them in. If we were all grain brewers, we would make our own malt extracts, and then we would use our specialty grains. Specialty grains add color and flavor. The malt extracts add a lot of the sugars, and sugars are what the yeast eat, and the yeast eat the sugars, and then they excrete alcohol and esters and a few different other compounds that give the beer its flavor. So that's how beer is made, and there's a lot of science that really goes behind it. So we steep the grains for half an hour at a very certain temperature. You don't want to go hotter, you don't want to go cooler, because that is, you know, I haven't actually really studied why we sit at that place, but that's what's been felt the best. Kind of like they figured out that coffee is best if you steep it, if you brew it at 192 degrees. 192 degrees across the coffee grounds, that is about the ideal. It sucks the best parts of the coffee grounds out and gives you your delicious coffee. Same with beer, 150 to 160 degrees for half an hour. That's the optimum steep for you. That gets you your specialty grains. That's the best way. So you brought them both.
They're stuck together.
Okay.
It's one packet.
You're right. One packet stuck together.
I didn't want to try to cut up the middle and then accidentally open it, so I just.
Yeah. No, I got you.
It'll be
Makes sense.
fine.
All right. So now we're talking about hop schedule. Hops are a flower, basically, related to. Did you know they're related to cannabis? I
did.
think we've talked about this before. So they're related to marijuana or cannabis or hemp or, you know. Can we just say marijuana? Do we have to be so precise? I think the only people who are precise are the people who are trying to argue for the legalization of these things.
There he is legal. In this state it is.
I know it is. Maybe it's the people who are trying to argue for the moral justification or whatever. But,
No, I got you. I'm being facetious.
you know, it's like,
You
we
can call it whatever you
marijuana?
want, man.
Can I call it Susan?
Mhm.
You wouldn't know what I was talking about, though.
No, the rest of the world
I'd
would
say I was smoking some Susan.
I would think it was a strain. Oh, what strain is that? You know?
That's true. You're a strange person. Well, no, I guess you're a pothead.
You're not.
Pothead. In any case,
I am not.
he is not a pothead. So my point being is that hops is a flower. Hops has preservative qualities and it has bittering qualities. If we didn't add the hops, the beer at the end would taste very sweet, kind of like a wheat soda pop.
I know, right?
I don't know. I've never made beer without the hops in it. I don't know if I really want to do that.
I don't want either because I think it would ruin it.
Well, yeah, but we don't know. In any case,
True, we don't. But
so hops do a couple things. They add preservatives to it, which is why your India Pale Ales have so many hops in them, because that preservative quality of the hop plant is what allowed the India Pale Ale to make it from England
to India,
to India. You know,
before they had things like refrigeration and
and airplanes,
preservatives and airplanes
and breweries in India.
Yeah.
So the point being, which by the way, they make beer in India. It's another place they make beer.
I knew that actually.
They make beer everywhere.
I knew they made beer in India.
There's a whole song about where they make beer.
Everywhere has beer.
Everywhere has beer.
I bet they even make beer in Antarctica, even though there's nobody native in Antarctica. But people who go there, scientists, researchers, whatever, I bet they make beer.
It's possible.
Probably make lager because it's cold.
It'd be easy to make lager.
Easy to make lager. Like you can make it outside. Just leave it right there. It's fermenting outside.
Yes. In fact, you might actually have to keep it warmer.
I know, right? It's too cold.
Unlike us, it was like, what is the coldest part of this house in August? There, in the crawl space. That stays at 68. Okay, put it there. So anyways, the hops make the beer, they eliminate the sweetness, And those are the bittering hops, and they're added at the beginning of the boil, usually at the 60-minute mark. Most boils are 1 hour, and so when we talk about the minutes, we count down from 60 to 0. So when we say at minute 60, that means the very first minute, and then minute 0 would be the very end, like we'd turn the flame off.
Right, like the timer beeps, hops go in, and it comes off the flame.
In this case, we add hop set 1 at 60, minute 60.
As
And
soon as
then-
it boils, we'll put the hops in.
We put in hop packet 2 at minute 5.
Minute 5, okay.
And what the second hop packet will do is it will add the aromas and the different flavors of the hops. And so, yeah. And so if you,
The closer to 0, the more hoppy it's going to be.
right, you're going to really taste the hops. And they actually do some beers where they call it dry hopping,
Yeah.
where after the beer has been brewed and it's in the
Excuse me.
secondary fermenter, they'll add hops then.
Right.
Although I've heard some people will add a muslin sock, kind of like what we do with that, so you don't get hop leaves
Right.
everywhere,
Keeps it from getting
which
all.
makes sense.
It does.
We didn't do it with that one beer we made that we dry hopped.
No, I just threw all the hops in there.
Yep.
But
It turned out all right.
It was fine. It was fine.
It was fine. Totally fine. So anyways, that's what we're talking about with hop schedule. A hop schedule is when you add the different hops. And different hops do different things. There's Fungal hops, and then there's Magnum and Northern Brewers and Citra
Kent.
hops and Kent Goldings and
Originally, hops used to be named after where they came from, like Kent, from Kent, England. But then I
Right.
guess over the years, they started kind of giving them more colloquial names than location-based names, you know?
yeah.
So, like Centennial hops are to U.S. thing.
Or maybe they're just hops that are, it's like this hop is a Kent hop. It came from Kent, but we grow it in Yakima.
But maybe the Caesar or some whatever, you know.
Mhm, yeah.
I want to grow hops eventually in my yard because it's a vine. It grows on a vine, just like greatswood.
Apparently it's a perennial too. It,
Right.
it dies back to the
And it comes
ground
back.
and then it grows back. So you gotta give it something to climb.
Give it a trellis or something, or some. I think I've seen people use string. They'll make a string trellis and just let them climb up the strings, you know, or rope or whatever, maybe twine or something. You know?
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and then Washington State grows grapes and things. I think hops would be okay to grow up here.
I know hops would be okay to grow
So-
up here. Do you know how I know? When
You
I
see 'em?
picked up the beer fridge. Yeah, I picked up the beer fridge years ago, right? Mount Vernon, randomly. I'm in Mount Vernon picking up this fridge from some guy. He goes, yeah, I come around to the alley. I pull my truck into the alley. I get out. I look at the fence, 100 foot of hops
Oh, that's awesome.
just growing in his alley. I'm like, those are hops. He's like, yeah, they just grew there.
Damn.
He's
That's
like,
cool.
they just grew there. Like, he didn't plant. He's like,
No,
no,
nonchalant. Yeah.
I don't cultivate them or anything. They just, they're there. It's like, that is so cool. But I have
That
no,
is cool.
I have no idea what kind. You throw them in
No.
the beer and see what they do.
See what
but,
they do.
you know, that's the thing. You have no control. But you know that whole alpha acid thing.
Right.
You know, the same hop from the same field, different year,
Right.
different alpha.
It's going to be
acids.
different, yeah, because every year that characteristic of the soil changes, you know,
Yeah,
and it's
well,
going to affect the hop in the end, you know.
absolutely.
So
You know what I want to try one year is some like original like Northern European or Celtic beers,
Mhm.
like before hops made it that far north,
okay,
because they use things like heather.
interesting.
And no, we're not going to dunk some poor young woman in our beer. That's not what I'm talking about.
Don't worry, Heather's out there. You're safe.
Yes, you're safe. Heathers of the world, we're not going to start kidnapping you to make beer. That went really weird. That is like robot chicken.
Yeah. Let's not go there.
So in any case, but they did. They made their beer with different spices and stuff because they didn't have hops.
Hops hadn't made it there yet.
Yep. But then when hops finally showed up, it's like, yeah, this is much more. This is a
They
superior.
have returned
Wow, they didn't get far. They forgot a key.
a key.
Well, they got to go clean first. They got to clean the various offices.
Oh,
Come
okay.
on.
They're doing their.
Yep.
Doing their.
They still got to work today. It smells really good.
Yeah, we're
This is like one of my favorite parts of brewing.
Well, the aroma. When we used to brew indoors, it was funny because the whole house would stink up. We'd get complaints, by the spouses. It stinks in here.
I didn't think it stank. I thought it was amazing.
I'll be aroma smells.
Those were our only failure beers, though. Once we moved out here
I know,
and like
right?
into your garage, we've been like just hitting it out of the park.
Woo. Yeah, we've done well ever since.
Of course, we control our intake while we're brewing. That's the one big thing.
Yeah,
Man, we got
Yeah.
stupid some of those nights.
yeah, we would start drinking, probably be 6 into it, and then, all right, let's start brewing now, and then
Yeah,
and
it's
then
like,
mess everything up.
have your wife read the recipe to us.
And then I learned the hard way that if you brew on a range top, I want to make sure that your steam hood is clean.
Clean the heck out of the steam hood.
Because, over time, grease and stuff builds up there, and it's just natural when you cook, And if you haven't cleaned it in a while, that particular batch was very steamy for some reason. That steam softened the grease, and it dripped into the beer. Yeah. It was like, oh no, I have no idea how this is going to turn out in the end.
Yeah, those were some of our bad beers.
Yeah, that was a very bad beer. It was supposed to be a Hefeweizen.
It was not.
It was dark like a stout.
There was something wrong with that beer.
Yeah, that beer got screwed up, man. Didn't taste right. It was terrible. Almost had like this weird orange flavor to it.
Yeah, that was strange. That was.
So
That
that
was-
book I've been trying to get to has a really cool section on all the different ingredients. Some of them just mean like, oh, it's grains, but when the sections you read about hops,
Mm-hmm.
it breaks it down to almost like you're looking at a biology book, like
Yeah.
to the innards of a hop and what the different parts do and how they affect the beer.
So like machine code.
Kind of, yeah.
So
But-
that's an in joke.
Yeah.
Because he's a software engineer and I don't understand software very well. So I ask him why, and why, and why, and why.
And eventually we reach the point where it's a little electrical signal on the wire.
Yes.
You
It's
know?
like, because when this happens, it's at half a volt, and when that happens, it's at a whole volt. And then I say, so binary. He's like, yes! We talk about something else.
But yeah, that book explains what's going on, and it breaks down when it starts talking about like barley and stuff. It breaks down the different parts of what's inside the barley that's actually affecting the beer and the hops as well.
Yeah, you know what? I
what
should
alpha
read.
acids are, and it breaks it down and really gives a good explanation of what these things are and how they affect your beer and why and you get your whys too.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm all about that too because without that we can't really do much better than guess
Right?
or go off third-hand information. Like we know that Crystal 60 does this. Why do we know that? Because other people
Because we
told
read it
us,
somewhere. Yeah.
right? I mean, granted, this is still going to be because
Actually,
we
it
read
talks
it somewhere.
about that too. It talks about what those numbers mean.
Right.
You'll learn. I've read it. I haven't committed to memory, but I've read through those chapters in that book, and it was a fun read because I learned a lot, but I just didn't retain it because I've only read it once. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's one of those things you got to keep using, or you're gonna forget it.
But the cool thing is, with that, you should read it again, by the way.
Yeah, I will. I
Because
have
then-
it bookmarked actually. So
Because then we can start making our own beers. Because right now we can't. I mean, we really can't. If you think about it, we can kind of get,
we could guess.
yeah. And we could even make the same guess more than once because we knew what we wanted.
It could be an accidental masterpiece, or it could be an accidental disaster piece.
Yes, but we wouldn't know why. That's
right.
the problem.
Wouldn't know why.
See how important why is? Why is very important. But it really is. I mean, we wouldn't know why. It's like, so we used these ingredients, we used these hops, and we used this yeast. What happened? It was pretty good. Great. Cool.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because it just works. I got
Dumb luck.
Dumb luck. It's like we can make it again. We documented everything. Bam, we made it again. What is it? It's still pretty good. Why? Still don't know. What happens if you change that? Guy ain't got a clue. Change
And
it.
that-
Let's
and
see what
that's where-
happens.
And that's where that book comes in handy because it teaches you those whys. teaches you why this grain does this and why that grain does that. And then there's lots of tables in there that kind of summarize that information for you. If you just want a quick lookup and you're like, oh, I need some of this. And a lot of times it's based off the original question, what are you trying to achieve? It's kind of how it's structured. You know, it's like, what are you trying to achieve for your beer? What do you have in mind when you're designing your beer mentally? If you go, I want this, this, and this, that's when you got to go, okay, well, these are the grains that are to produce X, Y, and Z because that's what you're trying to achieve.
Right.
And that's how it works, you know.
Yep.
And these are the hops you need because you want this, you know, or maybe not. It's not necessarily like these specific hops. It might be these types of hops you want. You know, you might have a choice like, well, I can use A, B, or C as alternatives if I can't find this one. You know.
Well, sure. But I guess the why is such a big thing.
And that's why, and that's where that book tells you those whys.
It's kind of like throwing a truck together. It's like I really wanted to get off the line. All right, so I used the Dana 60 and I put it with a Loger Borg Warner transfer case and something else transmission, and I, you know, the power plant was a 426 Hemi. I just turned it up on purpose.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Kind of trying to move things.
Yeah,
it is
me too.
liquid. It shouldn't scald.
No. I just wanted to. I just hoping we can keep that boil smooth. But we can adjust before we throw the hops in. So.
Yeah, that's true. We don't have to. We'll just be careful.
And we'll just stir it as we hop it. So. Keep it moving.
We may have had several episodes of boilovers where we added the hops and beer and wort went everywhere.
It's like, So we've learned to control that now.
So in any case, you throw all those components together and hey, I got a truck that gets off the line. Bam, like that. It's like, well, why? What part of this makes your truck get off the line?
I don't know.
It's like, I don't know. I just used all those things.
This is what dude said to you, so I just used it.
I did. You know, but then you start understanding things about tall gears and short gears and a 3:11 ratio or a 4:11 or a 3 point. I don't know all the ratios. I mean, because there's some common ratios out there that they give. It's like, so if you want this ratio, this will turn, this means your engine's turning this many times and your wheels are turning that many times. So you're getting high revs with slow rotation, which gives you a lot of power. You know, because your engine's in its power band.
Sure.
But if you get this one, you're getting low revs with fast rotation, not a lot of power, but it'll get you down the road, but you already have to be up to speed. And if you understand all that stuff, then you can change. It's like, take that axle out, put this axle in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Same with the beers. It's like, take that grain out, put this grain in.
Swap that hop for that hop. Yeah, exactly, man.
So you know what's interesting?
The only thing it's the universal constant for all for the beer, and you can even argue this too, the water. What kind of water?
I like wet water.
Wet water. Who knew?
Oy vey.
No, but this question comes up because there's, you know, depending what side of the fence you're on, some people will argue for tap water. Some people argue for deionized water, distilled water, spring water, whatever. You know, everybody has their reasons for the water they like. We typically use tap water. So
I think we might be using a mix of both.
Yeah.
No. We're using 100% purified.
Purified this stuff?
Because we used all of your tap water the last time you came over. It was just your bottles that stayed. Your water didn't stay here.
No, it's fine. So yeah, when we don't have spring water or purified, whatever this case is, we use tap water. And, you know, for us, it's fine because we're not trying to match some kind of water profile for some region of the country or the world. You know, just water.
Yeah, and the reality is that, you know, and also for us, we don't care about duplicating too much.
No.
Because we keep drinking different things every time.
We're making different recipes every time. Sure, we repeated some of our recipes, but we're not too concerned if it's identical to the first time we made it.
Yeah, and and that's one of the reasons that
they're not even our recipes; they're our suppliers' recipes.
Yeah. So we don't document too carefully, even though we understand the value. We did document carefully with one, because we did do one experimental beer. Turned out really well. We added Citra hops at, what was that, minute 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
We used one of our brew supply store's recipes, and we altered it by one ingredient. We added Citra hops at minute 0, which is, so at the very end, after we've turned the fire off, we added the Citra hops. And it turned out really good.
Yeah, I preferred the Citra version over the base version, honestly.
Yes. Unlike my father, who preferred the base version. That was remember that?
That's fine, yeah.
He did not like that Citra version. He liked the base version.
I think the guy that gave us the equipment, I think he didn't care for it because I had a growler of it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the days I went over to my friend's house and I took that growler and I poured him one, and he drank it, but I think he was being polite because I could tell by his facial expression when he first took the sip, I don't think he cared for the taste, but he may not like Citra. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, you know. And when we are our only judge, of course we're amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know.
But I mean, then again, we are amazing. So, you know, there's that. But still,
Right.
You know, it's like nobody judges it. We use my wife once in a while. You know, and she's like,
Yeah, mine too. She'll taste for us and be honest. If
so she
doesn't
likes
like
both these beers that are the Newcastle Clone and the Cascade.
she like them. Okay.
Yep, she was like, yep, we can drink these more.
Okay.
So those were successes.
Eventually, we'll have that Mac and Jack clone ready to drink if I ever get it in the keg and start carbonating it. Maybe I'll do
That'll
that
be good.
tonight. Maybe I'll do it tonight.
You should.
Get after this when I get home, I'll do that because.
Tell you what, I'm tired of buying beer.
Why not? Yeah.
I mean, we spend a lot of money on the kits themselves, and then we still buy beer.
Because we don't really have anything ready right now.
I know.
We had that period where we were like rolling the beer. All of a sudden, boom.
I don't know what happened.
Well, I think we had to take a break or something, and so our wash, rinse, repeat process got snagged, and we just didn't have anything ready anymore on time. You know, because we had beers ready pretty much every weekend. There was something ready to be kegged or something ready to be racked, and it was just kind of a continuous process for us, you know. And then something we had to skip or something.
Well, I do know that. What was that?
Oh, the text for the guy that might be interested in skins.
Oh,
His
cool.
contact info.
Nice. Well, you know, the other thing is that when we did the experimental beer, we did 10 gallons of beer that time,
Right.
and then we put them both because we're doing everything identical with the exception of the hops, and so. You know, we cooked them, we brewed them at the same time, we used the same water, at the same times, we put them in the kegerator at the same time, at the same pressures, yada, yada. Everything was the same. And so what that ended up with is that, at least on my end of things, then I had 2 empty kegs at the same time.
Right.
Whereas generally I'll have one full keg and then 1 keg that's conditioning.
Well, yeah, having me too. I had 2 full kegs, and then all of a sudden usually I would have 1. And it would be a process, and then actually I think we didn't brew for we skipped a weekend or something. I think it might have been Mother's Day time frame.
I'm gonna blame Mother's Day.
We did skip Mother's Day.
Oh yeah.
And but it might have threw off our process where we just didn't have anything ready continuously like we've been doing, you know.
Well, I tell you what, right now I'm doing good. So I got the Cascade Ale in the keg. I've got the Newcastle in the secondary. This shit.
And we have boil.
Yeah, we are boiling. We are boiling, people. All right, so here's the scary part. This is where we add the hops, and it boils over, and that's bad.
Okay.
1 pellet at a time. One. That was not 1 pellet, Steve. Steve, don't be brave, Steve. Discretion is the better part of valor, Steve. Dude, it's foaming. It is. I mean, it's
turn the heat down a little bit.
You see, you can't. It's being sneaky, but it is. It's climbing.
Well, that's why I turned the heat down.
Good idea.
It's trying.
It is trying. Don't let it get away from you. I'll use 2 hands. There.
We know what you're trying to do, Wart.
I had to throw a little more in there. Yeah, you might want to trim that back even more. Whoa, whoa, whoa. See? Kill the flame. Kill the flame, Steve.
Okay,
Kill it.
Bottle back, dude. We need to kill it, man. I'm turn it down.
I'm just being silly, dude. Just being silly, man.
Oh, I know.
That's a little aggressive, though.
Back a little more.
It's definitely. We need to get a second camera so we can point straight down,
Right.
and it won't be all foggy like that one time, which was pretty funny.
I like most of it.
Throw it in there. We're good. I think we're good.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm stuck.
I think we're over the danger portion of things, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we're good. All right.
It was trying, though. That tried to boil over.
Nope, we beat it.
Why? Because we're awesome.
All
That's
right.
right.
Timer's ready already. Something redundant. Are we still got that rolling boil, or
Well,
did it get too cold?
you have it on.
It's on. Pretty low. Yeah, it's a little bit of rolling boil. All right, 1 hour. Yeah, we're boiling. I'm gonna start it.
Yeah, go ahead and start it. I'm messing with the. I'm fiddling with the knob until. That looks. What do you think? I think that's gonna try and get too excited. Not textbook yet. See, pretty close though.
Pretty close. That's pretty good right there. I have to keep adjusting. I don't like this breeze. That looks really good right there. Look at the flame. Seems a tad high,
Well,
just because it hasn't kind of caught the temperature up yet.
yeah, and we're still getting a couple of like overly aggressive. Like anytime you
Bubbles.
see the bubbles, if you're
Right.
seeing bubbles, that's not a rolling boil. That's,
No, it's a boil.
That's closer to roiling boil. That's starting to look pretty good. Maybe just a little bit less. Imagine having to do this with wood.
Don't even want to imagine that. All right, I'm
There
gonna
we
go
go.
get us beers because you're
Yes,
out.
go get us beers.
You're out, and I'm about to be out.
We are textbook rolling boil. Well, maybe a little less. All right. And we've got boil, and I've got no beer. Sitting here, dry and thirsty. What is this? What is this random text message? So, anyway, so now we've reached the boiling stage. We might need to add just a little more oomph to that. Now we boil for 55 minutes, and what that will do is not only with the hops, but the boiling also impacts the sugars and the various malts and starches and things that are in there. It's that. Do you remember what the name of that effect is? Why the length of the boil is important? Remember we once had that discussion. It's like, why does that matter? You know, like how long can you boil just the wort without having to worry? It's the same process that governs the browning of breads and pastries and things when you're cooking.
Right, because it can keep processing even after you take it off the heat.
Right.
I can't
That's
remember-
what
I
we're
can't remember
talking
what it
about.
was
It's like,
called,
why
though.
is it necessary to cool things so quickly? I remember now. Man.
Right, because you take a loaf of bread out of the oven, you have to let it sit for a while because it's still actually baking.
Exactly.
And same thing happens with your wort. You need to, if you just take it off and let it cool naturally, you're kind of literally overboiling it. But I don't remember what that's called though. So that's why you want to cool it as rapidly as possible.
And once again, power of the freaking internet at our fingers, and we sit here and look at ourselves like idiots.
Right? That's right though. All right. Yay. Session beer. Okay. Don't need the thermometer anymore, really. Well, I guess we will have to be once we start chilling it.
Well, yeah,
Probably about halfway through this boil, we should get the. Oh, I forgot to move the carboy that's sanitizing. I did it last time. So did you already hit it?
And I've rolled it once or twice when I
Okay.
had to go inside.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been rolled. It's pretty well sanitized.
Plus, we'll shake it up real well too.
So, kissmybrew.com.
Okay.
All right. Why do you need to cool your wort quickly? 3 effective methods. I don't want to know how to do it.
We already know how
why.
to do it. There's that why again. We want to know
Why is it's an amazing. To avoid undesirable off flavors from which your beer may never
There's that
recover.
word again. Off flavors.
Dimethyl sulfide and diacetyl. Those are from pitching your yeast too soon, though. When wort is properly and timely cooled, the yeast grows within a nutrient-rich environment, can reach its optimal cell counts, and begin the fermentation process, the chemical transformation of sugar to alcohol and CO2. If we skip it, all right. Well, so this guy is right, but
He's talking about if you pitch your yeast when it's too hot.
that's really
You
what
get the
he's talking
diacetyls
about.
and all that, but we want
DMS is a natural chemical compound within the malt. If the wort sits hot for too long, 60 minutes or more, it will produce DMS. This adds vegetable flavors to the beer: corn, spinach, even carrots. Maybe barnyard. Which, have we mentioned that we're still on the hunt to find out what barnyard tastes like?
If you know what a barnyard tastes like,
You tell us. Let us know. All right. Diacetyl naturally forms during fermentation and is readily reabsorbed during the yeast. During secondary fermentation and aging, it is even a desirable flavor for some English-style beers. That said, a prolonged hot kettle will produce excess diacetyl. It will add buttery, butterscotch, and cloyingly sweet candy flavors. The yeast will not be able to handle the excess. It will dominate the profile, throwing your beer out of balance and destroy the taste profile. Okay, so we do know about the quicker we get it into the carboy and fermenting, the less risk we run of contamination.
Okay. Makes sense as well. That was another thing. You know what? Remember the Roquefort 8? That one, we tried to use snow to cool it.
Yeah,
It sat there and sat there and sat there. So we actually, I think that's why it had that black cherry flavor, because it sat hot too long. It didn't cool rapidly enough, before we had our wort chiller.
well, let's check this out.
So that kind of makes sense for that process because it tasted like black cherry. It was weird.
Okay, well, here's another one. Yeah, the whole snow thing didn't work very well at all.
Because sure, we packed snow around it, but we didn't keep the wort moving in any way or keep something moving,
Okay, so at the end of the boil, we went over to your sister-in-law's house and ate dinner, dude.
Is that what it was?
We did.
Okay.
Came back. That wort sat outside in the snow for
Way too long.
At least an hour and a half. It was okay. It just kind of black cherry
beer.
All right. It was a little too malty for me, which is saying something because I like malty beers. All right, here we go. At the end of the boil, it is important to cool the wort quickly while it is still hot, above 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Bacteria and wild yeast are inhibited, but it is very susceptible to oxidation damage as it cools. There are also the previously mentioned sulfur compounds that evolve from the wort while it is hot. If the wort is cooled slowly, dimethyl sulfide will continue to be produced in the wort without being boiled off. Your sulfur smells that you always smell. Think about it.
Yeah.
Have you smelled sulfur since we got the wort chiller?
Can't really say that I have. I don't recall. Maybe not. I don't think so. I mean, I guess it would stand out if I did,
Or maybe it wouldn't.
I don't know, man.
Doesn't matter, but I don't think you have.
But I used to smell it a lot.
I don't think you've made that comment, but maybe it's just because you got tired of me giving you a hard time every time you made that comment. But you did. You're like, I smell sulfur. And it's like, I didn't smell anything, but I don't have a very good nose. All right, so here we go. So Very susceptible to oxidation damage as it cools. There are also the previously mentioned sulfur compounds that evolve from the wort while it is still hot. If the wort is cooled down slowly, dimethyl sulfide will continue to be produced in the wort without being boiled off, causing off flavors in the finished beer. Barnyard. The objective is to rapidly cool the wort below 80 degrees Fahrenheit before oxidation or contamination can occur. Okay. Rapid cooling also forms the cold break. This is composed of another group of proteins that need to be thermally shocked into precipitating out of the wort. Slow cooling will not affect them. Cold break, or rather the lack of it, is the cause of chill haze. When beer is chilled for drinking, these proteins partially precipitate, forming a haze. As the beer warms up, the proteins redissolve. Only by rapid chilling from near boiling to room temperature will the cold break proteins permanently precipitate and not cause chill haze.
Chill haze.
Chill haze is usually regarded as a cosmetic problem. You cannot taste it. However, chill haze indicates that there is an appreciable level of cold break type protein in the beer, which has been linked to long-term stability problems. All right, so let's pause right there. There's no such thing as long-term stability because no beer should be around in any sort of container long enough to worry about stability.
Right?
Okay, and now back to regular programming.
Unless you're a distributor. Maybe.
I guess, but I'm not. Hazy beer tends to
I'm a
become
consumer.
Hazy beer tends to become stale sooner than non-hazy beer. The following are a few preferred methods for cooling the wort. Water bath, which we've used, not fast enough because you still smell sulfur. Ice. People often wonder about adding ice directly to the wort. The idea works well if you remember a couple key points. Never use commercial ice because you can contaminate. Always boil the water before freezing it in an airtight container. It must be
That's a lot
airtight.
of extra work.
If the ice will not directly contact the wort, i.e. you are using a frozen plastic soda bottle, make sure you sanitize the outside of the bottle. So that's basically homemade wort chillers. And then finally the wort chiller, which is what we use, not because we're so wise and cool and we're so dedicated, but because someone gave us one for free.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest about that.
But now that we use it, we're wise and dedicated to using it.
Yes, because it is pretty damn cool, because what used to take half an hour takes 5 minutes.
6 minutes, yeah.
Literally 5 minutes.
And since we've been using it, man, I really can't recall if I have the sulfur smell at all, man.
And tell you what that article just said was that the dimethyl sulfides continue to be produced. So during the boil, which this boil is right on the verge of not rolling. We might give it a little
extra heat.
So anyways, apparently during the boil, they get boiled off.
Right.
And they come up in this smoke, which we do this to.
Let me smell it.
All right.
I don't smell sulfur.
It's because they're boiled off.
It's boiling off, yeah.
But during the chilling process, they don't chill off.
Right.
Well, that's kind of cool. Look at that. We learned something.
We did.
Nifty. And then there's that whole browning of bread theory thing. That also happens. But the point of all of that gabbing and reading and just whatever, just wasting time basically, is that you want to cool your wort quickly because, yes, it does impact the flavor of your beer if you let it cool slowly.
Right? We've learned that firsthand.
Maybe we should try the Rockfish 8 again, because that's what the name of that one was.
Right.
And do it right this time.
Do it right and see if we like it better. Yeah, you never know. I'm down for trying it again.
I'm down. I mean,
I think that'll be a good fall or winter beer for us to try because it's so heavy. It's so high in octane. You know what I mean?
it is. And you know, the other thing is it would be a good dessert beer.
That version was, yeah.
You know, I got to tell you, do you remember that double bock that I bought from Greg's?
Yeah, it was just so sweet.
It was so sweet. But literally, my wife bought some carrot cake. She loves carrot cake, right? And this was high sugar carrot cake. You know,
kind of makes your teeth vibrate. You know?
Yeah, just like, wow, I'm just having a diabetic seizure just looking at the carrot cake. I haven't even tasted it. But I got to tell you, man, that beer with the carrot cake, it was great.
It was good, huh? Match.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dessert wine. They're super sweet.
Yeah,
and that's their whole intention was to pair it with a pastry or something, you know.
Yeah, and that stuff okay. That stuff tasted great, you know.
Right.
But the thing is,
on my shirt.
I drink. Well, I mean, you know this about me, anyways. All of my taste experiences are isolated in everything. That's why I'm able to drink a beer and eat a chocolate chip cookie and drink a cup of coffee and then have some macaroni and cheese all in the same 5-minute period.
Have another beer.
Yeah, I'm just like, what? I was tasting beer then. Now I'm tasting cookie. Now I'm tasting coffee. Now I'm tasting. It's like they don't impact each other in my head. But with that one, it did. It went really well. And I had some. Went out. I took Wendy out for Valentine's Day out to some fancy restaurant, and I ordered one of their stouts or something, but it ended up being really sweet. I'm like, but then dessert came as some sort of chocolate thing, and it went.
Was it a craft brew from the restaurant? Like they brewed their own, or was it just something they happened to have from a local brewery? Or?
It was a local craft brew. It was a craft brew. It was from the local area.
And this restaurant had
and that restaurant had it, and they served it. So it was commercially produced beer, but it was super small scale craft brewery.
Gotcha. Okay.
Anyway, so occasionally that whole pairing thing works really well. For me, most of the time, though, they're totally separate.
Gotcha.
Especially with beers that have clean finishes. It's like, how does it go with that? I don't know, because I swallow the beer and then it's gone.
It was gone. There was no after flavor.
It was a clean finish. Clean finish, which means you can go to the next thing.
This kind of has a clean finish to me. I don't have any aftertaste after taking a sip, but maybe my taste buds have been affected over the years. I don't know.
No, absolutely. Your taste buds are better.
I wouldn't say it's 100% clean, but I think it's a cleaner finish than some of the other beers we've had.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's an ale, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an IPA. Very light IPA, but it's an IPA.
Yeah, so
that's what's labeled at least. So,
from what I've read, although not necessarily from what I've experienced, lagers are famous for the clean, crisp finish. That's their thing. It's like they're not supposed to be heavy. Although it's weird though, because you think lager, right? You think that's heavy, but they're not. They're supposed to be pretty cool, crisp beers.
Like Pilsners,
right?
Cool, crisp beers. Yeah.
Whereas your ales are the heavier beers.
Yeah.
Your stouts and your porters, those are ales.
Yeah. Most beers are ales. In that case,
it's weird.
At least all those craft beers,
Most beers are ales, but 80% of all beers brewed in the world,
most of them are lagers.
But now that particular statistic is
that's based on consumption level, huh?
Right. So it's taking into account, and so I'm writing the beer song, which we should talk about when I come back on camera.
He has made more progress on the beer song, more lyrics too. So
we just got to deal with Africa and Australia.
Well, we know for sure Australia has beer. Australia has a lot of beer. They
yes.
do beer too down there.
But we can't use Foster's because apparently we'll offend the Australians by saying
to them
Foster's from Australia. They're like, we hate you.
Yeah, and I've been to Australia 6 times. The locals in Australia do not like Foster's. That is a crap export. To them, it's like in the U.S. we have brands like Milwaukee's Best and just Keystone, all these disgusting beers. That's like their version of a Milwaukee's Best or a Keystone. They do not. People in Australia do not drink Foster's. They know, and if they see someone drinking Foster's, they know instantly you're a tourist. Not necessarily an American, but they know that you're a tourist. Probably an American anyway.
We're never going to get a big money sponsor ever because we insult all the big money sponsors that are out there.
Well, sorry, not sorry.
Michelob. Oh, they make such lousy beer. All right, we're not sponsoring these guys.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've drank those beers. They're just not well-made beers, man. They're inexpensive. They're budget beers because they know if they sell cheap beer, people who can afford cheap beer will buy the cheap beer.
Well, yeah, and that's
why we have those just disgusting, $4 6-packs of stuff because they know that someone out there's going to buy it because it's budget,
Right. I mean, however, we're having this discussion while I have a case of Coors Light in my refrigerator.
Coors Light's not inexpensive, though.
Well, it's not expensive either. It costs like $16 for 24. I mean,
well, I see your point. I used to drink cheap beer. I used to drink Natural Light.
Okay, Natural Light is.
because it was cheap, it was light.
I'm not sure
I
I would
remember-
admit that on camera.
It was before I became enlightened. It was late 90s, first few years in the Navy. Didn't make a lot of money, and so on base, a 24 case of cans of Natty Light was $9.99, dude.
Yeah, that's
It was
50 cents a beer.
cheap, inexpensive beer. It did the job, and when you're 21, you don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't drink fancy beer back then.
Well, and here's the thing though, is that I actually like Coors Light. Like I do. Yeah, there you go. I admit it. I like it.
It's fine.
And so I don't think they're not garbage beers. I do agree. You're right. They're cheap. They're mass produced.
But they're
Did you
mass produced
actually-
for people that can afford them, and that's why they make those, to our standards, what we consider inferior beers. But other people, they like them. And it seems like we talk a lot of smack, but we get it, man. You drink what you can afford. If you like what you like, you like what you like. So the fact that you like beer, we're gonna love and respect you anyway.
Yes, you're a good person.
I don't
like
care
beer,
what beer you
You're
drink.
a good person.
Drink whatever beer makes you happy. I mean, we'll scoff a little bit for fun, but whatever, man. Drink
And
your
if
beer.
you hand us one, we'll drink it.
We'll drink it.
But seriously, it's just like so. Not on the cheap beer. This is crap beer, but Coors Light versus Budweiser. I don't like Budweiser all that much.
I don't either. I don't like the flavor.
Yeah, and that's it. It has nothing to do with this is cheap. It tastes cheap. It's just like it just doesn't
Don't
taste
like the
way I
flavor.
like
Yeah.
it. And we've run across a couple beers, from our specialty beer support that were not cheap.
They were not cheap, and they
$8
tasted
for a
awful.
16-ounce bottle. It's like, okay.
And they were awful. Yeah,
It's like, boy, I'm glad we didn't buy a 6-pack of this.
it goes.
Yeah, that might be a little exciting.
It extends into the snooty beer world too. You get some craft beers where, to me, it's like the brewery was trying too hard to make it unique, and it just didn't work.
It's like, this is unique, all right.
Uniquely not very good.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and then there's always personal things,
Right.
It's like like Jason and David, who at one point will be on the show if we ever manage to figure it out. They want to come up. They want to come up, brew beer with us and
Oh,
talk.
okay, cool.
But I guess like David, he just can't do the IPA thing. Well, Wendy,
Yeah, she doesn't care for them.
yeah, she's not an IPA
My wife
person.
doesn't care for them. She'll take a.
But I
Excuse
guess, but the thing is though, Wendy is a beer girl.
Okay.
Wendy likes beer. You know this.
Yeah.
Your wife doesn't seem
She
to be
used
a
to like beer. She was when we used to go out before she kind of stopped drinking. She doesn't. I mean, a drink to my wife is one little sip of wine or a little can of Kahlua mixed drink or whatever it is. That's it, man. And that's like once or twice a month. She doesn't even do that. But beforehand, when we were first married, she liked beer. She liked light beer, the Miller Lite brand light
Mhm.
beer. That was her flavor. I gave her crap for it for fun, but that's what she preferred. And so she didn't get smashed, but she would have 4 or 5 of those and be happy, So
But still, Wendy still is a
Right,
beer person.
right. Wendy still enjoys a
she's
beer
a better example
daily
for our
or
conversation.
Yeah. I got you, man.
And some of the heavy beers that we brew, the brown ales and things. Sometimes she gets caught up. I think sometimes she thinks I'm not supposed to like this kind of beer, and then she'll be drinking it, and I'll be like, just sitting there. It's like, what do you think of that? This is good. Okay. Can I tell you something? At this point, when I say, "Can I tell you something?" she says, "No."
No, I'm not
No, you
interested.
can't. I'm not interested in you telling me that I am really loving something that I've stated that I hate. Okay.
Okay.
But
So
that's
exactly
what I'm saying.
So you just told me that that's something you didn't like before.
Well, like she's not a big fan of ambers, right?
Oh, okay.
She's like, I'm not a big fan of ambers. But the other day, we had something that it was an amber. And she's like, this is all right.
Alaskan or something, maybe, or
Maybe it was. It was one of those because I don't think. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't know
dare
where
you.
that came from. I don't know. I run hard, dude. Run hard. I tell you, my van broke today. It's stressful.
you
It
did.
takes it out of you.
For some reason, I thought that was your Suburban that broke. That's why when I texted, I was like, "How did I know you didn't take the van?" Because the van was broken. But I think you
The
understood
van
that I
was
made
broken.
I think you saw that I made the mistake, and you referred to your Suburban, saying I didn't have time to go get the Suburban. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah. No, it was just so. Fan belt, the serpentine belt on the van broke on the way to church today. Made it back home on the battery, but yeah. So That was the whole conversation. But yeah, the van is down. So tomorrow I will be going to work, even though I'm not going to work. But I will be there at 6:45.
To get your part.
It's like, yep, I need a fan belt now.
So I screwed up. I was supposed to bring him my battery charger, and I forgot it. Did you still want to get that tonight or tomorrow, or are you good with what you did earlier by kind of charging it on?
Let me check it.
Yeah.
You know, if it's sitting up above, like if it's sitting close to 12, it'll last till tomorrow. If it's too far down, I will.
Well, plus, I mean, you're gonna go get the belt. You can always take the battery down with you and have it tested or charged, right?
Well, yeah, I can charge it at work.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah, no, it's not a big deal. But what would be nice is to get down there, get the belt, come back, and have that thing back on the van before 7:30.
Right. We're at 35 minutes, by the way. We're probably going to need to break off and get the accessories ready soon. I know it's not going to take 30 minutes, but what could happen is as we converse and all that, we might lose time. All of a sudden, we're like 5 minutes left. We're like, oh, we still got to finish this. We still got to rinse the sanitization stuff and get the wort chiller ready. You know.
Well, the wort chiller is the big one.
Yeah.
We need to rinse that off. I mean, because once the boil is done, that's where we kill it.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. You folks only get to watch the boil. You never
actually
get to watch
talked about
the rest.
that earlier. You went inside for something. I was talking about that. How one of these days we'll start the camera maybe after the boil, at the end of the boil, and then you can see the end of the boil and what we do with, the wort chilling and then the transferring into the carboy and the fermentate and getting the yeast pitch and all that.
You know, what'd be cool is once we get the basement cleaned out, we can set up some sort of like little brew studio and get some multiple cameras going. That's the biggest thing. Is that for the next steps, they're in different places.
Yeah.
They're not here where we're sitting, just relaxing. And this part is nice. It's like, there we go. But in order to do all that, we'd have to move all this gear somehow into the house.
Oh, I know. Right?
And then set up the camera and point it. It's like, so we get a brew studio. I got enough room on that wall that we could just have cameras set up and just flip the camera. All this stuff that's right. We're into technology. We're excited about this.
Yeah. Totally.
So anyways, yeah, we'll kill it once the boil is done, and then we will see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, the usual. It's turned more into a talk show that just happens to have beer brewing at the same time more than anything. Which is, what?
We still do talk a lot about beer, though.
Yeah,
we try to. I mean,
I noticed today. Yeah, we talk a little bit more about beer today, and looked up something like we used to do. We'd look up something and talk about it. So that was kind of cool to keep it. It doesn't always have to be focused on beer because we like to talk about stuff.
Yes, we have broad interests.
Yeah. Like
sometimes we talk about wine briefly, and then we come back to beer.
We might mention wine. I'm not a wine person, but I will drink it every now and then.
I avoid it. My church is big into wine. I mean, and I think part of that is just because it's got the whole biblical connection, right? Because in the Bible, they always talk about wine. Right. They don't talk about beer in the Bible,
Why not?
I don't know, because Jesus didn't turn the water into beer. He turned it into wine. I personally think he should have turned it into beer, but he didn't. He turned it into wine. And that's kind of the link there. Wine is...
Well, because dark red wine is symbolic of blood, I guess.
There's probably part of that, and the whole blood of Christ and all that fun stuff. But I do know that, so we have a lot of events in our church, and the church will buy wine, which makes me sad. Because the church doesn't buy beer. They buy wine. If I want beer, I got to bring my own. Which, on the upside, I can totally do. You have no idea that was so crazy the first time I went to this church, because I used to be Protestant. And now I'm Orthodox. And so I converted within Christianity. So still Christian, but it's a pretty major shift, right?
I know what you did, yeah.
And so we went to Pascha, which is the Orthodox Easter, right? Big thing. Christmas is like, yay, Christmas. And then Pascha is like, woohoo, blow the roof off the building. That's kind of how Orthodoxy has them lined out.
Oh, okay.
Right? So anyhow, we go to a Pascha party, and it was just crazy watching my wife stand next to my now priest, but he wasn't my priest then, right? He was just, but the priest, standing next to the priest doing shots of Jägermeister, and there was nothing. It's like not even a blink. Not like people are like, oh, look at her. No, the guy brought Jägermeister. The priest blessed the Jägermeister. He blessed the Jägermeister.
Sacramento Jägermeister. Who knew?
Crazy. No, we're not Jewish.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm thinking of Mel Brooks
Although,
and the Sacramento wine.
so did I tell you that my friend Hannah, spelled Chanah, not
C
a
is
super
silent.
close friend, right? C is silent, just like Hanukkah, which is spelled Chanukah. It's like, why even put the C there? Why?
Right. What is it? Yeah. What does it do?
I don't know. What happens if you use only an H? Does that change things? I need to obviously know more Jews. Any Jews out there? I would love to get to know you. You could tell me about the silent C. I would love it. It'd be awesome. Anyhow, so there is this girl I follow. She happens to be quite a singer and composer and arranger. She does a lot of old-timey stuff, like ragtime jazz type stuff.
Oh.
That's kind of her style. Yeah, just it's a Hannah Angelica. Man, I could. You know what? I could look it up right now. I don't mind giving her a shout out.
That's beautiful. It smells so good.
Anyways, the
Textbook
point.
oil. We have achieved.
Textbook. We have achieved textbook
transcendentalism.
oil. All right, Hannah, where are you? You are on here somewhere. I know Hannah's here.
Remember to search by C. Because the C.
Yes,
Hannah.
the C in Hannah, because everyone spells Hannah with a C.
Yep.
I'll find her in just a minute. She's pretty. There is Hannah Hannah Angelica Common
Angelical.
or Kamen. Common. Kamen.
Andrew Weber.
Huh?
Angelical.
Angelical?
Angelical cats. What is it? Part of cats.
Cats?
Cats.
Cats?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
I've seen it one time.
You see it? Was it any good?
It was
I heard-
fun.
I heard the movie was horrible.
Yeah, I didn't watch the movie. I watched the stage production of it.
Right. Well, the musical ran for a long time.
I was like 18 when I saw it.
Yeah,
It was fun. I mean, it was fun.
Anyways, I heard the musical was really bad. Okay, so anyways, I contacted Hannah Angelica Common because she's Jewish. Like stands on it. I am Jewish, right? So
Right.
not just like someone who has like I'm English, right? Yeah, I'm English. It's like, yeah, whatever. I'm American. It's like, what are you? I'm Montanan. That's how I really describe myself. I'm Montanan. Like, I don't know how you describe yourself. Do you describe yourself as German?
9.
No, you're American, right? It's just like I have no ethnicity.
And I don't say I'm a Texan either. I mean, yeah, I'm from Texas, but whatever. I'm just
Okay.
a dude
So, well,
who
anyways,
likes beer and think you should too.
but yes, I am similar in that regards. The point being is that neither you and I have a real big attachment to any sort of ethnicity
No,
or anything.
You're
We're
not.
American, and it's just like, and that's not even a big deal to us at this point. I think maybe because we've been around the world a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm ashamed of being American. Absolutely not. I love America. I think we're still the greatest country in the world. I really do. No offense to international folks. You want to bring it and we'll have a discussion about how your country's greater. I will have a great discussion with you.
And you can, anybody
And I
around the
will
world
totally give you the good parts of your country.
can think their country is the greatest country because that's fine. It's where you're from.
Yeah. And I
Anybody
think,
can think their country is the greatest country,
yeah, absolutely. I think it's more like, the whole like high school thing. My school's the greatest.
Right.
You went 0-8 this year. Yeah, but we're still the
We're
greatest.
still greatest.
0-8.
Our cheerleaders are hotter.
Well, there we go. And that's what's important, really.
And I know that's the context you mean by we're the greatest country.
So
You're not
here's
downgrading some other
and I
country,
think America has some great things about it. But my point being is that when I say I'm an American, it is nothing more than an identifier.
Right. You're not all
Right.
nationalistic about it.
Yeah, I don't really stand on it. Oh, wow,
I'm
that's
American.
something that's really critical to my self-identity. My self-identity is musician, father, husband, Christian. These are things that really define me in my head, right? The composer bit, beer drinker, right? It's important.
Right.
So my point being, anyways, but she really identifies with that Jewish part of her.
Right.
And the important part of this whole thing is that I said, can I use oy vey in a song? Do you use oy vey? She's like, yeah, go ahead. Me and my family use it all the time. I'm like, good. So I have permission from a true Jew to use the word oy vey in a
Oy vey.
song.
In the song.
Yes, and she even said, "Thank you for asking." I'm like, absolutely.
That's cool.
I mean, I'm not horribly worried about offending people because I think people who would get offended about the way that I use oy vey in the song,
They're
wow.
probably not even Jewish or
Deep
anything.
breath.
You
Deep
know?
breath. Yeah, they're probably white saviors. Have you heard of that term?
Yeah.
White
I've heard of
saviors?
White saviors, yeah. Privileged white
Yeah.
people that are just apologizing for everybody else and
Offended for someone.
offended for someone who was never even offended to begin with. Yeah.
That's so offensive. You're not even. Okay. Yeah, my friend Autumn Maria, she's black, right? She's had a few posts about we don't need white saviors. Thank you very much.
No, agreed, man.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's dumb.
It is dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay to sympathize with someone and support
Sure.
someone, but that whole. And it's arrogant. It's arrogant and it's racist in its own right.
It really is. It really is.
It's like, you poor black person, you are not able to take care of yourself. Let me
do that.
Let me, the strong white
is
person,
BS.
come in and
That is-
save you. It's like, do you realize that is just as racist as anything else you've been talking about?
Exactly. So
It's like this
stop
horrible,
it, white saviors. Stop it.
yeah, it's this horrible passive aggressive thing if you think about it, because it really is. It's like passive aggressive racism. It's like, but I'm on your side, but you're treating me like I'm 2.
Right.
I'm 43 and I own 4 businesses.
I did that without you. I'm good.
I don't need your help there.
Exactly.
I mean, and I don't have a ton of black friends. I have some Facebook black friends. I would consider Autumn a friend, because she knows my Facebook and we don't agree politically, and we mix it up. But
yeah, but you
she
guys can
hangs
have
in
a
there.
civil conversation still.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't turn into however you want to describe it. Just because she disagrees with you disagree with her, you guys are civil. Wow. Motorcycle with the radio blaring. That strikes me as funny. But anyway, you guys can have a civil conversation and agree to disagree.
Sure. In any case, where were we? I'm allowed to use oy vey.
Right.
Because my Jewish
Legit
Twitter
Jewish
friend has said, yes, that is cool.
So you should not talk about the songs. Since we kind of
We should.
we're in that realm now.
So anyhow, we have decided, Steve and I, that our production here, magnificent as it is, needs music.
True.
And I'm also coming out with an album. So the concept of the whole album is all going to be about beer. So I've got 3 songs that are like, say, 85% ready. I'm working on one called Drink 'Em All, which is the chorus is there's a million kinds of different beer, we're going to drink them all. And it's kind of fun, but it's a shouty pub song. Think Dropkick Murphys type stuff. Go listen to Going Out in Style by the Dropkick Murphys. You'll kind of get the style of this song. But it's all about the beers that all over the world. There's beer in Iran. I mean, there's beer in Saudi Arabia. There's beer in Israel. Gold Star is a very strong
I drink
brand.
a lot of Gold Star. I've been to where did I go? Haifa. I've been to Haifa.
Really?
Yeah. And
I have never been to Haifa.
And I got to drink some Gold Star in a bar in Israel, in Haifa, Israel.
Nice, sweet. So Gold Star is actually in the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like what's it? I should drag it up. I don't think this will impact
I think
the
it was a lager, if I remember right, or maybe a Pilsner. I can't remember. But it was a yellowy, almost. No offense to any Israelis out there, but it almost tasted kind of like a Bud Light, if I remember right. A Bud Light, but with better flavor,
Well, remember I told you that oh man, where did
But yeah, until he wrote the song, I had no idea that Iran had a beer.
And I don't know what Iran's beer is. I just know that I've been studying. I've been looking. It's like, where do they brew beers? Because the concept, I mean, we say it kind of jokingly, beer is everywhere. But it's
really
not a joke. Yeah. Beer is everywhere.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying there are some places just where beer is taboo.
Well, there are. I mean, if you think about
alcohol, period, is taboo in certain religions.
I'm gonna have to search this because where did I say this?
Did you lose your lyrics? So, by the way, we have about 20 minutes left. I think that's a good time to break off. I'm going to break off at least and get the stuff ready.
Documents, music, songwriting. That's good. Okay.
I'm gonna start rinsing the bleach water stuff and kind
all
of.
right, and I'll talk about the song. How many minutes do we have?
20.
20?
20.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. So I probably won't be back before you sign off. I don't know if I am. See you soon. If not, then see you next brew day. Ooh, excuse me.
Music, songwriting. There it is. Drink them all.
I'll try to get done as soon as I can.
Well, it shouldn't take you too. Well, you just got the big one is the wort chiller.
Well, the wort chiller and the cardboard. So.
Yeah, those ones we need. All right. So, anyways, here we go. So well, we'll just do the lyrics, and it's got, like I said, I've got an accordion lined up for it and some other things. It'll be interesting. But it's over 7,000 years ago, God gave us a libation, and now this divine beverage is brewed in every nation, on every continent except one, from far away to near. Humanity can all agree we love this thing called beer. Okay, and then we yell that, and that's fun. All right. Budweiser from St. Louis, Yingling out in Old PA, Coors in Colorado, we ain't even left the USA, Labatt up in Canada, the land of ice and snow, you don't even need a cooler when it's 40 below. Dos Equis down in Mexico, or Corona with a lime. It's such a shame, so many beers, so very little time. From Brazil to Argentina, or Peru, or Ecuador, todos echen sus cervezas de gran sabor, which, I just went into Spanish to make it rhyme, but it basically means everybody's brewing tasty beers. All right, so then we hit the chorus. So fill my glass up to the brim with that tasty brew I drank to my health yesterday. So this one is for you. One by one we set them up, and one by one they fall. There's a million different kinds of beer. We're going to drink them all. And at that point, I got to realign some lyrics and stuff. I'm working it around. But we've got Bass Ale, England, Guinness, Ireland, Tennants from the Scots, Weihensteppen, Hefeweißbier, Reinheitsgebot. All right? Czech Republic, Poland, Russia, and China to the east all make delicious beers with barley, hops, and yeast. There's beer from Scandinavia, Belgium, France, and Spain, so raise your glasses, bottoms up, and fill them up again. What about the Middle East? Hey, they make beer there too. Don't forget Gold Star in Israel. Who knew the Jews could brew? Oy vey! And that's where I get to use oy vey. Yeah, and maybe it's offensive, but I don't care. All right. So have yourself a big name brewer, better brew your own. But enjoy that beer, because one thing's clear, you ain't driving home. And then we do the chorus again. And I got to deal with Australia and Africa because I have not included them yet. But, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And then I've got another one that was co-written with my friend Jason called The Best Beer is the Beer That's For Me. I've got yet another one that I wrote myself. It actually started out as a jingle for a video for a guy, Yuma's Homebrew down in Arizona. There's a guy, Travis, who has a homebrew supply store, and it's called Yuma's Homebrew. And he asked me to write him a jingle for several videos and stuff he wrote. You know, maybe you can find it. I know you can find it on YouTube. If you, or not YouTube, if you go to SoundCloud, if you go to my SoundCloud, jamieaston.com, Jamie-Aston, SoundCloud.com/Jamie-Aston. If you go to that channel, you can find Yuma's Homebrew on there. Or maybe it's in Jamie Aston Jingles. Anyways, just search around for it. I'm sure you can find it. I'm on the internet. If you search my name, spelled right, Jamey, gotta spell it EY. That's the important thing. All right. In any case, so we got the 3 songs, and then I think we're going to do 4 of them are going to be regular old pub songs, and then the 5th one is going to be kind of going to try and make something really pretty, something like if you've ever listened to The Parting Glass by the Vocal Face Band. The song isn't done by them, but they have a performance of The Parting Glass, and it's actually a really nice performance. It's something that's fairly impressive. I really like it. My kid likes it, and I know if my kid likes it, that means that somebody hit it, because my kid, having autism, is not influenced by social, like the whole peer pressure thing. He's able to resist that fairly easily. So anyways, you should check all that stuff out. That's about it. I gotta tell you, let me check the timer here. Steve's in there sanitizing all the gear. We're looking at 16 minutes left. So tell you what, sit back down real quick. I'm going to call Steve back out here. So, Steve needs to come back. Nah, Steve doesn't mean to come back. All right. Tell you what, those of you watching on the replay, we really appreciate it. We're just having fun here brewing beer. We hope you like brewing beer. You don't have to brew it. Maybe you just drink beer. Maybe what? Feel free to come in next time. If you see this and you liked what you saw, maybe you'll come back again. Throw some comments up so we can interact with you, because we do like interacting with people. It makes the whole thing more exciting and interesting, and you'll have some questions, and maybe the conversation will go in a completely new and interesting way. Or maybe it'll fall flat on its face. You never know. We did have some really bad people. I don't know if they were trolls or just weird, but yeah, they did not help the conversation. Don't be one of those. Be someone who provides interesting and inspiring conversation. But the end of it is, have a good day. My name's Jamie. Steve is off camera getting the sanitization of all the equipment ready so that we can chill this beer quickly and get it in the keg. So, with that, relax. Have a homebrew.